Chapter 1340. A person's name is like a tree's shadow. Even though some of the martial artists had just arrived at the Seven Knights Villa, when they saw Li Fan standing there, they felt confident. Third brother, look, your popularity is so high that even I, as your elder brother, am a little jealous. Jiang Feng opened his folding fan again and looked at Li Fan. Heaven is watching what people do. Li Fan stood there with his hands behind his back. The four beautiful sword maids beside him added a lot of elegance to him. Second brother, if you do more things, I think you'll also be popular. Whether what I do is a good thing or not, it's not up to you, and it's not up to me. Jiang Feng did not buy Li Fan's words. Let the later generations judge. Is it really a good thing to make the pugilistic world like this? Li Fan retorted sarcastically. Didn't you see? These foreign devils are trying to bully us. If we don't have my Seven Knights Villa, I'm afraid these bastards will ride on our heads and shit on us. So what? Jiang Feng disagreed. Even if we drive them away, how good will it be? If they left, these people would fight each other day and night. In the end, everyone will fight to the death and both sides will be injured, and these people will come again to defeat us and step on our heads. I can't refute you about internal strife. China loved internal strife since ancient times. This was something Li Fan could not defend, but your method is too extreme. So, don't judge me with good or bad. Let the later generations say. Jiang Feng looked at Li Fan with a smile. How good can your method be? You kidnapped my most important family member. Is that justice? Jiang Feng, I don't want to talk about Jiang Ye's matter. Li Fan avoided this topic. I don't want to make her sad, so you better not mention this matter again. Okay. Jiang Feng nodded. Let's talk about this competition. Everyone has competed so many times before, although your villa won a lot. But that's just taking advantage of the fact that these guests have come from far away and are not used to the climate here, so it doesn't count. As soon as Jiang Feng finished speaking, the surrounding people started cursing. Shut up. Shui Wuxin cracked the whip, producing a loud pop sound. You have no right to speak. Although these words were a little hurtful, everyone had to admit that it seemed to make some sense. Commander Jiang, what do you mean? Li Fan was the backbone of the villa. With him in charge, Xiaohou and the others could relax. As long as Li Fan stood here, no matter what kind of enemy they faced, they would not be afraid. Look, you're the 7 Chivalry Mountain Villa's Manor Master, and you're also an Imperial Sword. And I'm the commander of the Royal Guards, so we're of equal status. Jiang Feng pointed at the two of them with his fan. Why don't you and I have a match, and we'll decide who wins and who loses. How about that? Sure. Li Fan agreed readily. He also wanted to personally see how strong Jiang Feng was now. If you want to fight with the commander, beat me first. Shui Wuxin suddenly jumped out, and the whip in his hand heavily lashed at Li Fan. He didn't hold back at all, and Li Fan lightly leaned to the side, avoiding Shui Wuxin's whip. With a bang, a crack appeared on the ground beside Li Fan's feet. Give me your life. Wang Yi and Zhao Le, these two generals, actually didn't have any bearing and attacked Li Fan. Of the two, one used the soundless saber, silently appeared on Li Fan's left side, and slashed down quickly, leaving afterimages behind. And the other struck out hundreds of palm shadows, densely packed, sealing all of Li Fan's escape routes. Despicable. The people of the villa all cursed, but it was too late for them to help. But Li Fan's expression was normal, and he even stopped a few sword servants who were about to help. Li Fan's left hand used the Thunder Dragon Blast, and directly used the hand blade to break the treasured saber in Wang Yi's hand. Next, his right hand used the Dragon Capture Art, and the powerful internal energy instantly dissolved the Guanyin palm and pulled Zhao Lu in front of him. War Dragon Roar, 80% power. Roar. Li Fan followed up with a War Dragon Roar, and the shockwave directly sent the two flying. And Shui Wuxin, who was far away, didn't escape and was blown away by the shockwave. Jiang Feng was the one who held her back and stabilized her body. With only 3 moves, he easily subdued the 3 generals who attacked him at the same time. So powerful. This is the seven-hero Villa Master. He is much stronger than before. Good. Jiang Feng cheered. As expected of my third brother, his martial arts has already improved to this level. This is interesting. My three subordinates were a bit impulsive. I am really sorry. I will definitely teach them a lesson when I return. Those three generals were originally sent by Jiang Feng to spy on Li Fan. Seeing the power of Li Fan's attack, Jiang Feng also re-evaluated his strength in his heart. After disappearing for a period of time, Li Fan's strength has made a breakthrough again. This brat is indeed a threat, but I have also improved. I will not be inferior to him. Don't say unnecessary words. Li Fan's voice became cold. People of different paths cannot make plans together. There is bound to be a fierce battle between you and me. I see that you have improved a lot. Why don't we completely decide who is better today? Only life and death, regardless of victory or defeat. Good. Jiang Feng's eyes also lit up. He was waiting for this sentence from Li Fan. As the imperial sword, Li Fan naturally has the power of life and death. But he is the commander of the royal army. He also has the power to act first and report later. Today, the two of them will decide life and death. Jiang Feng has full confidence in himself. For this day, he is even willing to fall into the Azura path. A strong Azura chi rises from Jiang Feng's body. The chi on his body constantly changes color. At first it was blue, then purple, then red, and finally stopped at black. Bang! Jiang Feng did not move a step, but the ground under his feet cracked. The cracks like a spider web, spreading out in all directions. This kind of skill, I have never seen it before. Dong Er thought hard for a long time, finally sighed lightly. Looks like my knowledge is not enough. Dong Er, don't worry, his skill is definitely created by himself. Li Fan comforted Dong Er, then asked loudly, Second brother, can you tell me, what is this self-created skill called? Hee, Azura Gate. Jiang Feng became even more proud. My skill is divided into Azura Mantra and Azura God Sword. It sounds quite powerful. Li Fan looked at the black chi around Jiang Feng. His heart began to calculate. Jiang Feng sneered. The current him is incomparably confident. This Azura Mantra has a total of 9 levels. Every 2 levels can let his Azura chi evolve once. From the initial blue Azura to the current black Azura. But he has not trained to the 9th level. That way he can train to white Azura. At that time, he will naturally be invincible. How about it? Li Fan, do you dare to fight with your 7 gallant fist? Chapter 1341. Your kung fu is indeed powerful. Li Fan could see through Shura's gate. It was indeed a divine kung fu. It seemed that Jiang Feng was also a talent. He had endured so much and was finally about to soar into the sky. I can't beat your Shura's gate with just 7-hero fist. How rare. You actually admit defeat. Jiang Feng was surprised. Then it's not too late for you to surrender now. As long as you hand over the 7-hero mountain villa and cripple your kung fu, as your brother, I won't make things difficult for you. I'm not done yet. What's the rush? Li Fan crossed his arms. Today, I've also created an advanced kung fu from the 7-hero sect. It's called 9 Dragon Spell. Since brother is so interested, I'll risk my life to accompany you. I'll use my 9 Dragon Spell to test your Shura's gate. How about it? Oh, Jiang Feng thought about it. He was a smart person. When he heard that Li Fan had created another advanced kung fu, he hesitated. Although he was confident, he had never looked down on Li Fan. His 3 opponents had been defeated too quickly. Jiang Feng didn't even have time to figure out Li Fan's strength. However, there was a battle today. His Shura's gate would not lose. Shura's gate is indeed a top-notch kung fu, but mine isn't bad either. As he spoke, a white light emitted from Li Fan's body. This light was like a swimming dragon, circling around Li Fan's body before dispersing into the air. Bang! A wave of air burst out from Li Fan's feet, rolling in all directions. Some of the weaker martial artists couldn't even stand straight. Jiang Feng, let's fight. The four sword servants retreated to the side to avoid affecting Li Fan's battle. The two stood on the stage, their internal energy colliding with each other. Surprisingly, they were evenly matched. There was a faint explosion in the air. It was clear how strong their internal energy was. Without hesitation, Jiang Feng made his move and closed in on Li Fan by about 3 meters. He stuck the fan on his waist with one hand and pointed at Li Fan's chest with the other. Azura Divine Sword. Deity shows the way, 80% power. Li Fan sneered. His left hand brought up a bolt of lightning as he slashed down. Thunder Dragon Heavenly Punishment. Thunder Dragon Bombardment. 80% power. A blood-red sword energy and a bluish-purple thunder saber collided in the air. Boom! The power of the two exploded. Both sides withstood the shockwaves and fought fiercely. Both of them were top-notch experts. In a short moment, they had exchanged more than 10 moves. Jiang Feng's Azura Divine Sword allowed him to release sword chi from his fingers. This set of martial arts should have been derived from their family's acupoint punching technique. At this moment, with the help of the sword chi, this set of martial arts became even more powerful. However, the profound dragon ice palm that Li Fan displayed also shocked everyone. In particular, the cold air that erupted from his palm made Jiang Feng even more afraid to approach recklessly. The two of them attacked each other at the same time and then retreated. Azura Divine Sword. 2 dragons playing with pearls. 90% power. Jiang Feng's 2 hands released blood-red sword chi, one from the left and one from the right, heading straight for Li Fan. Bang! However, Li Fan's feet bounced, and the sword chi directly passed through Li Fan's afterimage. He himself appeared behind Jiang Feng and at the same time aimed a kick at the back of Jiang Feng's head. Dragon Beheading Terrace. Evil Dragon Steals the Moon. 90% power. Li Fan's kick was fast and fierce, and the essence of it was steel. However, Jiang Feng already felt the cold wind behind him. His body fell to the ground, and then when his body landed, he turned around and slapped his left palm at Li Fan's chest. Azura Divine Sword. Azura Star Picking. 90% power. On Jiang Feng's palm, a red sword chi emerged from each of his fingers. There were a total of 5 sections, and they were like Azura's claws. They were aimed at Li Fan's chest. Dragon Beheading Terrace. Sleeping Dragon Flipping Over. 90% power. Li Fan's brows furrowed. This move was very bad. He immediately changed his leg technique, turned up and down, hung upside down in midair, and swept his leg out. Bang! Li Fan's kick landed on Jiang Feng's wrist, and his hand was kicked high up in the air. Jiang Feng borrowed the force to flip in midair and once again stabilized his body. Then, he used 2 dragons playing with pearls again, and 2 sword chi shot towards Li Fan, who was still in midair. However, Li Fan directly opened his mouth and roared. Battle Dragon Roar. 90% power. A powerful airwave rushed over, and Jiang Feng's sword chi was shattered. And Li Fan borrowed the force of this roar to fly backward. He turned in mid-air again, landed on the ground, and stabilized his body. The surrounding people were all mesmerized. This was a battle between 2 top-notch experts. Both of them were too strong, and their fight was too beautiful. It was too much for their eyes to take in, and they were afraid to miss a single move. What was an unparalleled battle? It was probably just like this. As a martial fighter, to be able to witness such a great battle in one's lifetime, one's life was not in vain. This 9 Dragons art is indeed not bad. Jiang Feng readjusted his state, and the aura in his body started to circulate again. You are indeed my greatest opponent. If I don't kill you, my plan will not be able to be realized. Because your plan is fundamentally wrong. Li Fan also suppressed his rumbling chi. Fighting with Jiang Feng had consumed a lot of his inner force. Even without me, there will be others who will come out to stop you. Since I've chosen this path, I have long expected the difficulty. Jiang Feng did not hesitate, and a fierce glint flashed in his eyes. If God blocks me, I will kill God. If Buddha blocks me, I will kill Buddha. You're still hiding something, right? Why don't you take it out? Li Fan asked. Fine. As an elder brother, I naturally cannot hold anything back. As Jiang Feng spoke, the black aura on his body started to explode. Soon, a 4-meter-tall black-armored Azura condensed behind him. However, after the Azura appeared, it quickly compressed its body, and soon, a black Azura armor appeared on Jiang Feng's body. You have already reached the second stage of the martial god true body? Li Fan could not help but be surprised. Second brother, you have improved a lot faster than me recently. Thank you for the compliment. You should also bring out your full strength. Let me experience your black dragon ice palm at full strength. How about it? All right. A Valkyrie condensed behind Li Fan, and the Valkyrie quickly turned into a dragon-shaped armor, and Li Fan wore it. 2 half-step martial saints stood on the stage, and both were martial gods at the second stage. Their strength was naturally self-evident. Many people below the stage were extremely envious. Being able to train to this level was every martial fighter's dream. Immortal guidance, 100%. After activating the martial god true body, they could also smoothly use 100% of their strength. Jiang Feng's blood-red sword Qi was a lot thicker than before, and it went straight for Li Fan. Dragon devours all elephants, 100%. Li Fan struck out with a black dragon ice palm and forcefully absorbed Jiang Feng's sword Qi. Chapter 1342. It's not that easy to absorb my sword Qi. Jiang Feng sneered. Previously, Imperial concubine Zhou also wanted to absorb Jiang Feng's sword Qi, but in the end, she had no choice but to toss it out. Who said that I want to absorb your sword Qi? Li Fan laughed and pushed his palm toward Jiang Feng. I'll return it to you. The blood-colored sword Qi erupted from his palm and instantly shot toward Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng frowned. The power of this blood sword was actually much stronger than what he had unleashed himself. He immediately dodged to the side and dodged this blood sword. However, at the same time, a bad signal lit up in his heart. Li Fan's habit was to destroy everything in its path, using one move to defeat another. Before Jiang Feng could turn his head, Li Fan had already arrived before him. He bent his body and was almost sticking to the ground. His palm carried a powerful chill. Even Jiang Feng could feel a strong sense of oppression from it. He didn't dare to underestimate it and immediately retreated, wanting to dodge. However, Li Fan wouldn't let him do as he wished. His palm was like a maggot in a tarsal bone, sticking close to Jiang Feng's body and following him. Mystic Dragon spitting pearls, 100%. Li Fan's palm spat out a ball of white Qi bead. It brought along a strong chill and directly sprayed it on Jiang Feng's body. Jiang Feng immediately circulated his energy to block it, but half of his body was still covered in frost from the explosion of the ice bead. Immortal guides the way. Jiang Feng also took advantage of the moment when Li Fan used his ultimate technique and activated his sword Qi. His talent and wisdom were both outstanding. In almost an instant, the sword Qi accurately hit Li Fan's shoulder. PFFF. Li Fan was stabbed. Blood burst out from his shoulder as his body was sent flying. Jiang Feng also stood there, half of his body frozen. Li Fan somersaulted in the air and landed on the ground. He tapped on his shoulder a few times with his finger, sealing the Qi and blood on his shoulder. The injury on his shoulder was also rapidly healing under the strengthening of his genes. Jiang Feng, on the other hand, was circulating his powerful Azura Qi to melt the frost on the right side of his body. White mist emerged and flew into the air. Both of them are so powerful. If I could be half as good as them, my life wouldn't be in vain. The martial fighters below couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, but Adam was a little speechless. At this moment, the combat power that Li Fan displayed was equivalent to slapping his face in all kinds of ways. This Huaxia man's combat power was simply heaven-defying, be it Li Fan or Jiang Feng. Both of their strengths were far above his. What kind of joke was this? How could a mere martial artist from Huaxia have such strength? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The United States was the strongest existence. Their AI chips should have the highest power. Adam frowned deeply. He watched the battle and used the retina camera on his eyes to send this scene to the American Empire's Combat Data Analysis Center. Since these two people were very strong, their genes would definitely become Empress May's treasures and make her even stronger. This Jiang Feng's strength isn't bad. Xia was somewhat moved when she saw Jiang Feng's methods. He's not bad, but he can't be compared to my husband. Chun'er laughed. My husband still has many secret techniques that he hasn't used yet. Villa Masterly. Jiang Feng looked at Li Fan, and something flickered in his eyes. You are indeed very strong, and your strength seems to be on par with mine. How can that be? I admire Commander-in-Chief Jiang's strength. Jiang Feng laughed. Then let's put down everything and fight with all our strength. Sure. The two laughed at the same time and instantly charged at each other. Bang, bang, bang. The two exchanged a few blows in a row, and both of them let go of their strength and fought to the fullest. Their strength seemed to be on par, and it was hard to tell who was stronger in a short period of time. Gradually, Jiang Feng's Azura mental cultivation method revealed a flaw. It seemed that he did not have enough strength. His speed and strength were slightly reduced. Li Fan was overjoyed and took advantage of the situation to launch a fierce attack, causing Jiang Feng to retreat continuously. Adam was a little flustered. He pulled Shui Wuxin and started shouting. Is your commander-in-chief dying? Quick, you guys go and help him. Commander Adam, this is a martial arts competition that belongs to martial artists. It is sacred and inviolable. Shui Wuxin did not have a good impression of Adam. She shook off Adam's hand and said rudely, You, and I can only watch from the sidelines. Moreover, Lord Commander-in-Chief has not lost yet. What nonsense! It is already like this. Could it be that he has not lost yet? He is going to die soon. Adam berated, Quick, go and help Commander-in-Chief Jiang. Behind him were an Indian yoga warrior, a Greek-Roman warrior, a British knight of the Round Table, and himself. Just as the four of them took a step forward, for swords suddenly flew out and hovered above their heads. Whoever dares to step forward, kill without mercy. The four beautiful sword maids stood there and activated the sword formation. Killing intent flickered in the eyes of each beauty. Ignore these four women, go. Adam could not wait any longer. The Indian yoga warrior sneered and licked his lips. Commander, leave these girls to me. I will play with them. The yoga warrior was bare-chested. His movement technique was very strange. Like a poisonous snake, he slithered on the ground and quickly crawled toward the beautiful sword maids. White Tiger Formation. Chun'er took the lead and activated the formation. Four swords suddenly descended from the sky and pierced into the yoga warrior's body. The swords pierced into his arms and calves, forcefully nailing him to the ground. Oh! The yoga warrior screamed miserably. He was in so much pain that he peed and defecated. He struggled on the ground like a maggot. Serves you right. Xia. Coldly looked at the yoga warrior and then scolded, Whoever dares to move will be killed without mercy. Spare me. Spare me. The yoga warrior desperately begged for mercy, but the four sword maids ignored him. You guys, how dare you? Adam was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. White Tiger Formation. Chun'er commanded again. In an instant, hundreds of sword images descended from the sky and formed a row in front of these foreign devils, blocking their path. I will say it again. Whoever crosses the line will be killed without mercy. Xia was finally satisfied. She was in a very good mood. The corner of Adam's mouth twitched. Looking at the row of sword images in front of him, he finally retracted his leg. Why didn't you help me? Adam could only vent his anger at Shui Wuxin. I already said, martial arts in China is sacred and inviolable. Shui Wuxin rolled her eyes. You insisted on fooling around. What does it have to do with me? You. Adam was so angry that he almost died. These Chinese are not trustworthy. Their cooperation is only temporary. Once America completes the zoo system, they will definitely not forgive them. Chapter 1343. Li Fan and Jiang Feng were in a mess. Jiang Feng was losing ground with a grave expression. As for Li Fan, he was getting more and more courageous as the fight went on. Villa Master Li is amazing. That's right. That Jiang Feng is nothing. He's just a despicable person. How can he compare to Villa Master Li? Jiang Feng is about to lose. The crowd discussed fervently. Jiang Feng's face was pale, as if he would lose at any moment. His moves were showing more and more flaws. Jiang Feng seemed to know that he was about to lose. He knew that Li Fan was good at close combat. Hence, he started to switch from offense to defense. He quickly retreated, trying to put some distance between him and Li Fan. Mystical Dragon Drinking Water, 100% strength. But Li Fan struck out with his palm. White frost erupted from his palm, and a powerful suction force was born. The difference between Mystical Dragon Drinking Water and Dragon Capture Skill was that Dragon Capture Skill was a technique that could absorb and release. Mystical Dragon Ice Palm, on the other hand, dragged the opponent over to receive a fatal blow. Jiang Feng knew that Li Fan's palm couldn't touch him, but he still couldn't control himself. His feet almost left the ground as he was pulled over. Damn it! Jiang Feng's expression changed. His eyes were filled with panic. Jiang Feng died, Li Fan bellowed, and the power in his palm erupted. And Jiang Feng was already right in front of Li Fan. Everyone thought that Jiang Feng would lose. But at this moment, Jiang Feng's lips curled into a smile. His body suddenly exploded with a powerful black light that enveloped him. Jiang Feng's skin had completely turned black. He looked like a real Azura from hell. Azura's wrath. Jiang Feng's powerful aura exploded, causing everyone's expression to change. This powerful aura wasn't something he had before. This guy still had a trick up his sleeve? Azura Star's plucking. Jiang Feng's speed was more than doubled. His claw carried a red sword aura as it slashed at Li Fan's chest. Li Fan was completely defenseless. His body was stiff, and he was about to be hit. Li Fan's life seemed to be hanging by a thread. But at this moment, an identical Li Fan suddenly appeared beside him, causing Jiang Feng to widen his eyes. 5 Emperor's Divine Palm. Yellow Emperor Ascending Dragon. Full power. Bang! This palm landed solidly on Jiang Feng's body. Jiang Feng was instantly sent flying. He tumbled a few times in the air before finally smashing into the house beside him. The stone walls were blasted open and dust was kicked up, and Li Fan's figure once again merged into one. He landed on the stage with a calm expression. Everyone was shocked. What had just happened? Why did 2 Li Fans suddenly appear? Doppelganger. Imperial concubine Zhou was the first to react. Others might not know, but she, who had lived for several hundred years, understood the origin of this move. As expected of the man this empress has taken a fancy to, he's truly extraordinary. Imperial concubine Zhou was incomparably happy. She was even happier than if she had successfully cultivated the external incarnation. The outer body incarnation was one of the ultimate skills of the martial arts world. It was said that one had to form a second dantian in order to cultivate it. As for how to form a second dantian, no one knew. Therefore, although the skill was good, in the thousands of years of the martial arts world, very few people had successfully cultivated it. Only a few martial artists with great luck could be lucky enough to cultivate this move. However, this doppelganger seems to be using the 5 Emperor's Divine Palm. Regarding the 5 Emperor's Divine Palm, although Imperial concubine Zhou had never seen it, she had heard a little about it. This should be a martial art of the martial emperor's bloodline. How did Li Fan learn it? This little boyfriend of hers seemed to have more and more secrets on him. Shui Wuxin also frowned. Her heart was filled with worry. Lord Commander, is he all right? Bang! The house next to him was broken, and rubble flew everywhere. Jiang Feng's skin was black, and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. He walked out of the rubble. The current Jiang Feng was like a demon god from hell. His eyes were suffused with a crimson light, and his anger was boundless. Commander Jiang, I'm sorry. I was one step ahead of you again. Li Fan crossed his arms and stood there, looking at Jiang Feng opposite him. Do you think you're the only one scheming against me? I know you too well. You had a trick and so did I. Li Fan, you deserve to die. After transforming into an Azura, Jiang Feng seemed to have lost some of his rationality. As he spoke, black smoke came out from the corner of his mouth. This was caused by his killing intent. Li Fan looked at Jiang Feng and couldn't help but shake his head. Although this Azura's wrath was powerful, it consumed a lot of Jiang Feng's mental energy. The repercussions would be huge. Without reaching this level, forcefully increasing one's strength and overdrafting one's strength would always be flawed. For Li Fan, practicing martial arts should be done step by step, one step at a time. Jiang Feng, using this kind of martial arts will damage your meridians. Li Fan advised, it's better to stop practicing it as soon as possible. Shut up, Jiang Feng roared. You lucky guy, what qualifications do you have to lecture me? In order to realize my dream, I naturally have to pay the price. All right, people of different paths cannot make plans together. Li Fan did not say anything more. Let's fight. As he spoke, the elemental energy in his body quickly condensed. At the same time, Li Fan stretched out his hand. The hero's sword in Murong's hand immediately flew out of its sheath and flew into the air before being sucked into Li Fan's hand. Powerful elemental energy constantly condensed on top of Li Fan's sword. Soon, this black sword's blade condensed with a layer of black light, looking incomparably dangerous. After seeing your Azura's wrath, it's time to let you see my martial god true body, 3rd rank. What? Everyone was shocked. This martial god true body had 3 stages? Was there a mistake? They did not understand, but Imperial Concubine Zhou knew a little. Xiaohou also looked at Imperial Concubine Zhou with a questioning gaze. Imperial Concubine Zhou then said, Martial God True Body indeed has 3 stages. However, to cultivate to this stage, one needs a second Dantian. Second Dantian? Yes. Imperial Concubine Zhou nodded. This second Dantian, ordinary people cannot cultivate it. I did not expect Li Fan to have such a fortuitous encounter. It is truly shocking. Why can one comprehend the 3rd rank of martial god after cultivating the second Dantian? Chen Junhua was also a martial arts fanatic, so he immediately asked, there is only one Dantian, so it can only strengthen one's own strength. Imperial Concubine Zhou simply explained, with the second Dantian, one can increase the strength of a weapon. Look, now that Li Fan is using a weapon, his second Dantian is strengthening his sword. This is also because his second Dantian has been formed. Otherwise, with his realm, he should be able to surpass a sword without a sword. Imperial Concubine Zhou's eyes were sharp, and her analysis was also very accurate. At this moment, Li Fan had indeed formed his second Dantian, so he still needed a sword to perform the 3rd rank of martial god. Even so, he was now unbelievably strong. 9 returned to 110% power. As for Jiang Feng, he had accumulated enough rage points and finally exploded. Chapter 1344. 99 returned to 110%. Jiang Feng pointed forward with both hands. In an instant, countless blood-red sword chi shot toward Li Fan like tens of thousands of swords returning to their roots. Flying Dragon Frenzy Dance, 110%. Li Fan swung the abstruse black treasured sword continuously. From time to time, black sword light would explode in the air. Li Fan, with his own strength, forcibly sent all the sword chi shooting in front of him flying. A sword with the power of a 3rd-layer martial god was unstoppable. The Shura sword intense produced by Jiang Feng could not harm Li Fan at all. However, Jiang Feng continued to unleash the sword intense. His stamina seemed to be limitless. Endless sword intents were fired toward Li Fan. Meanwhile, Jiang Feng's appearance continued to change. The black murderous aura continued to accumulate on his body, changing his appearance. His body continued to expand, and his clothes were torn apart. Meanwhile, his hands and feet turned into claws, and fangs emerged from his mouth. Not long after, A 2-meter-tall tiger man with white stripes stood there and continued to unleash his Shura sword intense. Shura, tiger. Imperial concubine Zhou's expression shifted upon seeing this. Why did Jiang Feng turn into a tiger? The others were confused too. The path of martial arts is extremely difficult. Imperial concubine Zhou let out a sigh as she recalled her usual appearance when she was cultivating. When a person is possessed by the devil after cultivating, the murderous aura will enter their body, causing them to transform into a wild beast. This Jiang Feng is one with the inner demon, and now he has materialized the inner demon into the appearance of a Shura tiger. Imperial concubine Zhou was extremely proud, yet she was full of admiration for Jiang Feng's martial arts. The hearts of Xiaohou and the others sank. Was Jiang Feng really that strong? As Jiang Feng mutated into the Shura tiger, his blood-red eyes stared at Li Fan. The blood-red sword Qi on his finger became even more ferocious, and it shot towards Li Fan like a machine gun. Humph! I'll show you the power of a third-layer martial god. As Li Fan spoke, he shook his right hand and threw the sword in his hand. The treasured sword flew into the air, and black essence energy condensed on it, quickly forming a black dragon. This black dragon was about 10 meters long and had a ferocious expression as it twisted its body. This was the power of a third-layer martial god, weapon mimicry. Dragon subduing sword, flying dragon dance, 110% power. The black dragon circled around Li Fan's body, dancing and spinning, deflecting all the sword Qi that approached him. The audience was dumbfounded. These two people, one was more awesome than the other. One transformed into a beast, while the other condensed a sword dragon. Truly terrifying. A Jura star picking 110% power. Jiang Feng's feet suddenly shot forward. His speed was heaven-defying. A second ago, he was still more than 10 meters away, but in the next second, he was already in front of Li Fan. At the same time, he raised his palm and went straight for Li Fan's head. Azure Dragon piercing the sun, 110% power. The black dragon also leapt up and slammed its head into Jiang Feng. Bang! The black dragon exploded into pieces. The hero's sword flew out and slashed into the ground beside it. Jiang Feng was sent flying too, slamming heavily into the distance. The Azura Qi on his body dissipated, slowly returning to his original appearance. It was obvious that Jiang Feng was slightly weaker in the duel. Li Fan had relied on his weapon, while Jiang Feng had relied on his flesh. It was obvious that Jiang Feng had suffered a great loss. Jiang Feng, are you still coming? Li Fan stood on the spot and patted the dust off his clothes while staring at Jiang Feng. I'm fine. Jiang Feng regained his senses. He pushed away Shui Wuxin, who was supporting him, and slowly rose to his feet. Li Fan, you're very strong indeed, to have comprehended the third-layer martial god realm. Jiang Feng wiped the blood from the corner of his lips. Your talent has indeed surpassed mine. That's not it. I just had some fortunate encounters. Li Fan was honest. I believe you've comprehended the Azura Gate on your own, and the Azura's Wrath. Even though it has some flaws, it's still a remarkable martial art. In terms of talent, you're actually stronger than me. However, this martial art is harmful to one's body, so it's not the right path in the pugilistic world. If you listen to me, you can stay in the villa. I'll teach you the method to activate the second Dantian, so you can return to the right path in the pugilistic world. Jiang Feng spat disdainfully. Li Fan, you're such a hypocrite. Who would want to accept your kindness? Hey, what are you talking about? My brother-in-law is doing this out of kindness, yet you're ruining it. Murong was instantly displeased. We've raised you for so many years, yet you're so greedy. Ungrateful bastard. Ha ha. I'm an ungrateful bastard? Ha ha. Jiang Feng suddenly burst out laughing. His laughter shook the entire villa, causing many of the weaker martial artists to cover their ears in pain. What are you laughing at? It's so unpleasant to hear. Murong glared fiercely at Jiang Feng while covering her ears. Murong's family is shameless to the extreme. Jiang Feng roared, scaring Murong so much that she shivered. Murong, that old dog, killed my entire family, imprisoned my sister, and even forced me to acknowledge the thief as my father and take him as my master. There's no good person in your Murong's family. There's no good person in the pugilistic world. All of you deserve to die." Jiang Feng's roar seemed to carry the stench of blood, causing everyone present to have goosebumps, as if their hearts were being pierced by thousands of arrows. Li Fan didn't make a sound. Although he didn't experience such a thing, he could understand the pain of Jiang Feng's family being destroyed. Jiang Yi stood at the side, trembling slightly. Under the mask, it was unknown whether it was tears or indifference. "I, Jiang Feng, swear to destroy Murong. Swear to destroy the pugilistic world." "Is that so?" At this moment, a voice came from afar. Everyone's heart thumped at the same time. Who was it this time? But Li Fan and Jiang Feng trembled at the same time and looked to the side. With this look, both of their hearts sank at the same time. They saw Murong Bo wearing a dark green robe. Although the robe was simple, it didn't hide his demeanor as a grandmaster. This old guy, when he stood here, no one could not look at him. No matter when Murong Bo was worthy of being the #1 in the pugilistic world. And beside him was a top-grade beauty, about 20 years old, with a beauty that could cause the downfall of a country. She was wearing a black chong sam with a peony pattern, which wrapped around her exquisite figure, revealing her curvaceous figure. The slit of the chong sam revealed a pair of slender, straight, white legs, which were extremely attractive and attracted thousands of eyes. Murong Ying, Li Fan smiled bitterly. She actually came. Following behind them was a group of disciples of Murong's villa. Each of them carried the sword of Murong's family and wore the uniform of Murong's family, which was very impressive. Together with the 7 Knights Villa and the Imperial Army, they formed 3 different forces. "Evil disciple, I want to see how you will destroy my Murong's family." Chapter 1345. Humph! Jiang Feng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, stood up, and looked at Murong Bo opposite him. "Murong, old thief, you came the right time. It's time to settle the score between us. What an evil disciple. I have cultivated you for so many years, fed you, provided you with shelter, and taught you martial arts. As a result, you bite me back. Good, really good. I, Murong Bo, have cultivated an ungrateful wolf for so many years. I regret it. I regret it so much." Murong Bo let out a long sigh, seeming to be a little regretful. "Old thief, you are really shameless. You regret it? What do you have to regret?" Jiang Feng asked. "I regret that I didn't slap you to death, little bastard. Now I have raised a tiger to harm me." Murong Bo snorted coldly. "But so what? Even if you have comprehended an evil martial art, what can you do to me?" No one questioned what Murong Bo said. This old guy used to be powerful, and now he had been in closed-door training for a while. Who knew if he would have a breakthrough? "You really know how to choose the right time." Jiang Feng looked at him coldly. "You chose to come when I was injured. But this is also good. All the grievances should be settled today. Even if I, Jiang Feng, die, I will drag you down with me." "Why? Do I have to choose an auspicious day to make trouble for you? Besides, today, not only you, but also everyone in this village can't escape." Murong Bo clapped his hands. Hundreds of well-trained disciples in black rushed in and blocked the way down the mountain, blocking the way for these martial arts people to leave. "Murong Bo, old dog, what do you mean?" Li Fan looked at Murong Bo with a fierce look in his eyes. "Do you want to make trouble for my villa?" "What, Li Fan, do you think I dare not touch you because you have someone to back you up?" Murong Bo laughed. "Haha, let me tell you, I have got the secret order. It doesn't matter even if I kill you all. From today onwards, Jianghu is still under the control of my Murong family." "Secret order? Whose secret order is it?" Li Fan felt that something was wrong. "Of course it's ours." Li Fan turned his head and saw Tai Bai Jinxing standing on the stone line in front of the door, looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. "You're here too." Li Fan's heart sank. Tai Bai Jinxing's strength is at the half-saint realm. Coupled with Murong, it would probably be difficult for me to deal with 2 half-saints. "Murong Bo, it seems that you really like to be a dog." Li Fan sneered at Murong's Weibo. you're such a disloyal woman. Are you in a hurry to be Liao, Ju's dog again? His words caused the three girls to be slightly moved. One was Liao Wushuang, and the other two were Murong's sisters. Li Fan, if you say one more word, I'll make you beg for death. Being called an old dog, Murong Bo clenched her fists, and anger flashed at her eyes. Hee, Murong Bo, do you think my 7 Knights villa is easy to bully? Li Fan waved his hand, and all the martial artists in the 7 Knights villa raised their true chi and confronted Murong's people. Since you want to fight, then I'll play with you. Good. You really don't know death. Murong Bo ordered. Murong's disciples, listen up. Today, all the people in the villa will be killed without mercy, and no one will be left alive. Wait, we're not from here. You can't kill us. Adam hurriedly shouted. Murong Bo glanced at Tai Bai Jinxing, and Tai Bai Jinxing slightly shook his head. Humph, a group of barbarians. Who cares about your life and death? Murong Bo waved her hand. Kill without mercy. Yes. Murong's disciples immediately drew their swords and charged toward 7 Knights Villa. Imperial Army, fight back with all your strength. Zhang Feng ordered, and the Imperial Army he brought with him also drew their weapons and fought against Murong's people. Disciples of the Mountain Villa, friends. Li Fan asked loudly. Right now, someone wants to touch our villa. What do you intend to do? Kill them. Everyone shouted in unison. Good. Li Fan laughed loudly. Outer sect disciples, retreat to the inner sect. Inner sect disciples, step forward. Let's let these sons of bitches see the consequences of provoking our 7 Knights villa. 7 Knights villa must be united, and no matter who wants to touch the villa, they must die. Kill. For a period of time, the 3 forces engaged in a chaotic battle. These 3 forces had elites and normal disciples. Both sides fought with their lives on the line. Li Fan, although I do not like you, the 2 of us must work together and deal with this Murong Bo. Zhang Feng said loudly. Just take it that I, Zhang Feng, owe you a favor. We can work together, but Murong Bo alone is not a threat. The one beside him is a true expert. Li Fan's gaze landed on Tai Bai Jinxing. Don't worry. I will not make a move against you today. Tai Bai Jinxing crossed his arms as he stood there and smiled. The higher-ups gave me an order not to make a move. This time, it is Murong Bo's stage. Who knows what Liao Ju is thinking? He sent Murong Bo and his people to cause trouble, but he did not let his protector make a move. The 2 of you can go ahead. Murong Bo does not seem to care about them. Just nice. Let me do some exercise. Xiaoying, if you're not willing to make a move, then stand to the side. Hearing this, Murong Ying's expression relaxed, and she stood to the side. While the people were fighting outside, they tacitly left an empty space in the middle for the 3 experts to fight. Since he is not going to make a move, the 2 of us will work together to deal with this Murong Bo, Li Fan said as he took out 2 miracle rejuvenation pills. He ate one and tossed the other to Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng caught the pill and threw it into his mouth. Zhang Feng's pale face instantly recovered. What great item! Zhang Feng could not help but feel surprised. It seems like I have underestimated your residence. The 2 of you, are you done adjusting your breathing? Murong Bo wore a hideous grin. What are you waiting for? You old dog, you're quite impatient. Li Fan chuckled and circulated his origin chi. He put on the dragon armor and entered the 2nd-level martial god realm. He is in a rush to reincarnate. Let's fulfill his wish. Zhang Feng put on the Shura armor too. His fingers emitted a faint red glow. You 2 brats, today is the day you die. Murong Bo waved his hand, and the sword of one of Murong's disciples immediately flew into his hand. Go to hell. Saying this, Murong Bo swung his sword and slashed horizontally with a terrifying sword intent, reaching Li Fan and Zhang Feng in the blink of an eye. Zhang Feng jumped up, and Li Fan used an iron bridge. The 2 of them dodged the sword chi. Whoosh! The 2 royal guards, 1 disciple of the 7 heroes, and 2 disciples of Murong Bo were slashed in half by the sword intent. Chapter 1346. The sword aura continues to fly out, cutting a house behind it into two pieces before finally flying into the air. Li Fan wipes his cold sweat. This old dog has already lost his humanity. He doesn't even let his own people off. Old thief, you are indeed so vicious, even killing your own people. Jiang Feng ridicules. Hee, this group of people are orphans that I raised up. It was me who personally raised them, turning them into my death warriors. Murong Bo doesn't care. They live for me. Naturally, they are willing to die for me. These people are very sincere. Not like an ingrate like you, understand? You talk a lot of nonsense. Li Fan has already arrived in front of Murong Bo, from bottom to top. His palm strikes towards Murong Bo's chin. Black Dragon Ice Palm. Black Dragon raises its head. 100% power. At this moment, Jiang Feng's figure also strangely appears behind Murong Bo, his palm grabbing towards Murong Bo's head. Azura Godsword. Azura Star Picking. 100% power. These two people's attacks are almost at full strength. But Murong Bo only laughs, stabs his sword into the ground, and then both his palms strike towards both sides at the same time. Flaming Palm, 110% power. Bam! The two people's palms collide with Murong Bo at the same time. However, the two of them were actually sent flying. The two people somersaulted in the air and once again land on the ground. Murong Bo's left hand is frozen, and his right hand is pierced by the Azura sword chi. But Murong Bo just takes a breath. A large amount of vitality is sucked out from the villa into his mouth and into his dantian. The wounds on his body immediately begin to heal, as if he was never injured. 9 Buddha Sutra? Jiang Feng frowns. Old thief, you really mastered this technique. Yeah, I still have to thank you for helping me catch so many Devil Sect dogs. Murong Bo chuckled and said, after doing so many experiments on them, I was able to rely on the remnant page and successfully practice this divine technique. You will suffer retribution. Li Fan coldly looked at Murong's blog and bluntly cursed her. I've roamed the Jianghu for a long time. Well, have I ever had retribution? Murong spread her arms and proudly said, besides, those are the scum of the Devil Sect. What's the big deal about killing them? Hee, if you have the ability, why don't you go and kill that martial emperor? Li Fan mocked. Do you dare? Old dog. Brat, don't try to provoke me with words. Murong Bo said coldly. The martial emperor's ambition is to conquer the world. He promised me China's empire. You want to stop a chariot with just the likes of you? You're overestimating yourselves. Scum through and through. Jiang Feng could not stop cursing. His hatred for Murong could not be described with words. Jiang Feng, you ingrate, you must die today. Li Fan, I can spare your life. You are the person that the martial emperor wants. I will only break your limbs and turn you into a dead dog. Ha ha! Cut the crap. Li Fan's right hand turned into a blade and condensed the power of thunder and lightning. Thunder Dragon Bombardment, 100% power. 2 dragons playing with pearls, 100% power. Between Li Fan and Jiang Feng. One threw out the thunder and lightning blade while the other sent out 2 Azura sword chi, aiming straight at Murong Bo Humph. Murong Bo once again raised her sword and blocked Li Fan's thunder and lightning blade. This thunder and lightning blade immediately smashed the nearby roof and then bounced into the air. As for the 2 sword chis, they were smashed by Murong Bo's flame palm. This old man's fighting strength is really amazing. Relying on his undying evil technique, he is simply unparalleled. Li Fan, don't hold back anymore. Use your full strength. Jiang Feng knew that it was impossible to win if this went on. He urged Li Fan and entered Azura's wrath. Jiang Feng's body expanded again and turned into the Azura Tiger. Level 3 Martial God. Li Fan used dragon capturing art and sucked the hero's sword into his hand. At the same time, he poured his primal chi into it and threw it out. A black dragon flew into the air and surrounded Murong Bo. 9 return to 1. 110% power. Azure Dragon penetrates the sun. 110% power. Millions of blood red Azura sword Qi surrounded Murong Bo. Li Fan's black dragon also descended from the sky and went straight for Murong Bo's head. "Haha, good timing." Murong Bo laughed. He did not dodge or retreat. He opened his mouth and activated the energy in his body. Be it the black dragon or the Azura sword Qi, they were all sucked into Murong Bo's mouth. Dang! The black sword fell to the ground and stabbed into the stage. The sword Qi that filled the sky was also sucked clean. Not a single one was left. Damn, this old dog is not picky at all. Li Fan could not help but exclaim. Jiang Feng's eyes were bloodshot and his face was pale. The Azura sword Qi that even Imperial concubine Zhou could not absorb was eaten by Murong Bo. His evil technique is even more powerful than Imperial concubine Zhou's. Kid, you're a level 3 martial god, right? After Murong Bo absorbed the energy, he looked at Li Fan and laughed weirdly. I couldn't find the technique, so it turns out that you have a second Dantian. As he spoke, he extended his hand, and a minister-level officer of the royal army was sucked into his hand. I'll borrow your Dantian for a moment. Saying this, he grabbed the royal army officer's Dantian with one hand and sucked it. His other hand, however, was holding onto the sword, and he threw it away. The sword flew in the air, its surface covered in a fierce, fiery sword Qi. Soon, a crimson sword appeared in the air. It was 10 meters long and 2 meters wide. Its surface was scorching hot, causing the surrounding air to distort. Li Fan and Jiang Feng were shocked. Murong Bo, this old dog, had used someone else's Dantian to forcefully increase his cultivation to the level of a level 3 martial god, allowing him to create a giant sword made of energy. This old dog, he was too terrifying. A level 3 martial god was able to do it with a single glance. How many people in the world could possess such strength? Take this. Murong Bo pointed his finger downward, causing the giant fiery sword to descend from the sky, slashing at Li Fan and Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng turned around and left. Li Fan turned around and saw the disciples of the 7 heroes standing behind him. He took a deep breath and pulled out his hero's sword, raising it up. Dragon subduing sword, dragon ascending the 9 heavens, 11%. The black dragon flew out once again. It opened its mouth and grabbed the giant sword, blocking the falling sword. Murong Bo chuckled, as if he was not bothered by it. Meanwhile, Li Fan's face was slightly pale. The life Qi on his sword was being absorbed by the energy on Murong Bo's sword. As the dragon's body slowly shrunk, the giant sword gradually fell to the ground. Li Fan's forehead was covered in cold sweat. His life Qi could not afford to be consumed like this. Li Fan barely managed to free one of his hands and took out a bottle of energy replenishing pills. He poured the pills into his mouth and swallowed them like candy. Chapter 1347. Murong Bo wrinkled his brows. Li Fan opened a medicine store, but he was eating such a good pill like it was candy. This is too wasteful. This alchemist Luo Xiaofeng should be a helper that my daughter found for him. After the 7 Knights Villa is destroyed, that Luo Xiaofeng will naturally be under my control. Even if he takes some pills, how long can he last? Murong's ridicule is not without reason. His Qi is getting thicker and thicker, while Li Fan's true Qi is constantly decreasing. Even if he takes so many true Qi pills, it is still not enough to make up for this intense consumption. As time goes by, Murong's giant sword once again presses down. Murong, old thief, hand over your life. Jiang Feng's figure suddenly appears behind Murong. At the same time, an Azura star picking technique hits Murong's back. After transforming into Azura tiger, Jiang Feng's speed and strength have increased by who knows how many times. Shameless Junior, you actually dare to sneak attack. Murong frowns and forcibly receives Jiang Feng's palm. With a boom, 5 bloody holes appear on his chest. Jiang Feng's star-picking technique is absolutely ruthless. However, Murong Bo was still standing there. He took 2 deep breaths, and unexpectedly, his injuries were quickly healed. At the same time, his back sucks on Jiang Feng's palm, causing Jiang Feng's expression to change. Since you're here, then don't leave. Murong laughs. He firmly sucks on the two people's power, not wanting to let either of them go. Li Fan, quickly think of a way. Jiang Feng frowns and yells at Li Fan. If this goes on, both of us will be finished. This old man's martial arts is very evil. Li Fan says, I'm going to take a risk. You better hold on. At this moment, he can only fight with this old dog. Little bastard, facing my absolute strength, do you still have any tricks up your sleeve? Murong sneers. A mere insect still wants to turn the tables. It's hard to say who's the worm. As Li Fan spoke, he controlled the dragon sword with both hands and unleashed a new move. Dragon engulfing all elephants, 110% power. The black dragon, who had been pushing the sword upwards, suddenly sucked in air. Murong's expression changed. She stared at Li Fan with widened eyes. How dare you? What? You're allowed to absorb other people's power, but I'm not allowed to? Li Fan sneered. Old dog, let's try and see who's stronger. As soon as Li Fan said it, he regretted it. Damn it, it's really uncomfortable to listen to it. These words are ambiguous. Ba ba ba. Courting death. Murong's Weibo eyes narrowed. A single spark dares to compete with the sun and moon. The two of them displayed their divine abilities, using the dragon and the sword as the base, absorbing each other's power. In this way, the two of them are like a tug of war, desperately pulling each other's power for their own use. The two of them started a tug of war, but Jiang Feng still can't pull out his palm. Murong's ability has a great influence on him. Li Fan felt as if someone is ruthlessly pulling him, wanting to drag him to a place of eternal damnation. And Li Fan also pushed his power to the extreme. He doesn't believe that he can't absorb this old dog's power. Dragon Girl stood in the crowd, watching Li Fan's battle without intervening. For Li Fan, as long as he is willing to use the Shangfang sword, he will definitely be able to defeat these opponents. However, Li Fan is very proud. Murong and Jiang Feng are both martial artists. He wants to use this martial art to defeat the other. However, what he felt should not be wrong. Li Fan's body seems to have a trace of White Tiger's aura. How can this be? When did Li Fan come into contact with White Tiger? Didn't White Tiger die a long time ago? Murong Bo, you old dog, your time of death is coming. Li Fan and Murong continue to fall into this tug of war, and Jiang Feng also desperately controls his Azura Qi, not letting Murong steal it. Jiang Feng, as long as you maintain your power, don't let it be sucked away. Li Fan reminded Jiang Feng. I won't drag you down. Jiang Feng coldly snorted. The Azura Qi on his body became more condensed. He almost used all his strength to protect his Dantian, restraining Murong's absorption method. That's good. His second Dantian is almost exhausted. Li Fan had already seen the hope of victory. Murong's second Dantian was seized by force. It originally did not belong to him, and the consumption was rapid. After absorbing power from Li Fan for half a day, even if it was full, it was only his first Dantian. Li Fan glanced at the unlucky royal guard. At this time, he had already been sucked dry. Sure enough, the big sword that Murong condensed was slowly shrinking, dissipating, as if it could not hold on for much longer. Good, exhaust him to death. Jiang Feng was also shocked, overjoyed, and took a deep breath, protecting his Dantian more firmly. You want to exhaust me to death with just the two of you? Murong seemed to want to shake the two of them away. However, Li Fan and Jiang Feng had already expected this move and actually steadily absorbed his power, not letting him escape. Lord Tai Bai, trouble you help me. Murong felt that if he continued to fight, it would not be good for him. So he turned his head and asked Tai Bai Jinxing, who was standing at the side, for help. When Li Fan heard this, he frowned. One Murong was already so troublesome. Adding another Tai Bai Jinxing, unless he grew two more hands, he would not be able to maintain an undefeatable position. Are you mistaken? Tai Bai Jinxing crossed his arms and said lazily, I am here to monitor you, not to help. Didn't you claim to be invincible? Why can't you even deal with two brats? How can this kind of trash serve my martial god palace? Humph. Then you just watch. Murong snorted coldly and looked at his daughter. Xiaoying, quickly come and help me. After killing these two traitors, our Murong family will be able to shine again. When Murong Ying heard this, her delicate body instantly froze. Oh no, they're going to harm husband. Chun who was dealing with the enemy, immediately became anxious when she heard this. Kill them. Xia held her sword and was about to turn around to help. However, many experts from Murong's villa surrounded them, making it impossible for them to help. Moreover, these Murong's death warriors were very smart. They could see that the four of them had a powerful sword formation, so they used human lives to exchange for it, separating the four of them. The four sword servants were as anxious as ants on a hot pan, while Murong Ying stood there blankly, in a dilemma, not knowing what to do. Xiaoying, don't forget, you are a member of my Murong family, Murong urged. You are carrying the burden of the Murong family. Stop being sentimental. It is time for you to make a choice. Murong glared at his daughter. Chapter 1348. Murong Ying is stunned. Make a choice? Murong Ying stands there and stares at them blankly. The dignified martial arts alliance master, at this moment, appears to be like a little girl, hesitating. What are you waiting for? Murong Bo roars. Quickly kill him. Murong Ying holds her sword and frowns. Her eyes seem to be in pain. At this moment, she seems to hate herself for being a member of Murong's family. If she's not a member of Murong's family, she and Li Fan will not become like this today. Really, fate makes fools of people. Murong Ying, you don't have to hesitate. Li Fan does not look at Murong Ying. His eyes have been staring at his nemesis. Murong Bo, if you want to cut me, then cut me. I will not hate you. In Li Fan's mind, he has long understood that the grudge between the two families will not be resolved because of a love affair. Sister, don't. Seeing Murong Ying slowly raise her sword, Murong Ai, who was engaged in a chaotic battle, let out a heart-wrenching cry. Shut up, you unfilial daughter. Murong Bo roars angrily. But Murong Ying looks at Li Fan and seems to have made up her mind. Sorry, Li Fan. After all, am a member of Murong's family. Murong Ying raises her sword, looks at Li Fan, and says word by word, but I, Murong Ying, will always be your wife. Even if you die, I will never marry. Good. This is my good daughter. Murong Bo laughs happily, but looking at Murong Ying, she is biting her lips, and her eyes are glowing red. Her long, jet-black hair instantly turned into 3,000 strands of silver. Her hair had actually turned white. 2 streaks of bloody tears flowed from her eyes. Shouting, seeing Murong Ying in such a state, Murong Bo was also stunned. Then, she felt sorry for her. He's just a man. There's no need to worry about him. He shouldn't be alive. Kill him quickly. Murong's Weibo urged again. Tai Bai Jinxing was watching from the side with a cold smile on his face. Murong Ying finally walked over and stood in front of Li Fan. Li Fan did not look at her, nor could he bear to look at her. He knew that even if Murong Ying stabbed him with her sword, he probably wouldn't be able to hate her. Xiaoye, I'll leave the 7 Knights Villa to you. Li Fan seemed to be saying his last words, while Lu Xiaohu and Jiang Ye's eyes were red. The two of them wanted to rush over, but the men of sacrifice trained by Murong's family were too powerful. Each of them felt no pain, were not afraid of death, and had strange skills, forcibly blocked their path. Ha, Li Fan, just die. Murong Bo laughed loudly, while Murong Ying's sword directly pierced through Li Fan's chest. Pucci. This sword did not deviate at all, and it pierced right through Li Fan's heart. At this moment, Li Fan finally understood what it meant to feel sorry. Murong Ying stood there, her body trembling, and bloody tears flowed nonstop. Plop. The 2 women, Murong Ai and Liao Wushuang, as well as Imperial concubine Zhou, all fell directly to the ground with a plop. These 3 women were all planted with Li Fan's In Huan voodoo. When Li Fan's chest was pierced, their pain doubled, and they all fainted. Xiao Ai? What's going on? When Murong Bo saw his daughter suddenly fall down, he was immediately taken aback. In his heart, his daughter was like a treasure, incomparably important. Murong, old dog. Blood dripped from the corner of Li Fan's mouth, but he still maintained his dragon, swallowing all things. He looked at Murong Bo and sneered. And Murong loved the same kind of In Huan voodoo. If I die, she won't live either. If you want to kill me, you will lose your daughter. No, impossible. Murong Ing took 2 steps back. She let go of the sword and directly pounced on Murong Ai. Bastard! Give me back my daughter! Murong Bo roared. Under this strong stimulation, his strength actually increased a bit, directly breaking the entanglement between Li Fan and Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng was shaken to the side and fell to the ground. Shui Wuxin, who rushed out of the crowd, caught him. My lord, how are you? Jiang Feng slowly dispersed the Azura Qi on his body, restoring his original scholarly appearance. He looked at Li Fan, who was being beaten up by Murong Bo, and snorted in regret. He actually died for a woman. What an idiot. My lord, what should we do? Li Fan is dead. There's no point in us staying here. Let's retreat. Jiang Feng pointed at Adam. Bring those pieces of trash along as well. Yes. Shui Wuxin commanded his men to take Adam and the others, fighting while retreating toward the road down the mountain. At this moment, Li Fan was lying on the ground, suffering from Murong Bo's heavy blows. Murong Bo's palm after palm landed on Li Fan's body, causing Li Fan to continuously vomit blood. With his heart pierced, it seemed like Li Fan would not be able to survive. But Murong Bo obviously did not intend to let Li Fan go. He was still angrily whipping the corpse. Use your martial arts to accompany my daughter in death. Murong Bo said, placed his palm on Li Fan's dantian, and activated the absorption technique. At this time, Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes and grabbed Murong Bo's arm. Murong, old dog, your time of death has come. What? Murong Bo's eyes widened. He obviously did not expect that Li Fan was still alive. His heart was pierced. How could he not die? Puff! Li Fan suddenly spat out a thunder sword from his mouth, heading straight for Murong Bo. Murong Bo's hair all over his body trembled. He subconsciously wanted to dodge, but Li Fan's hands grabbed his arm tightly, making Murong Bo unable to dodge. At the same time, his palm was also sucked in by Li Fan's dantian. He could not pull it out no matter how he tried. Crack! Murong Bo was indeed Murong Bo. At this moment, he actually broke his right arm, dodged the thunder sword, and retreated more than 10 meters away. Li Fan slowly stood up. Murong Bo's arm was actually swallowed by the black tentacles that flew out from Li Fan's body. It was digested cleanly in an instant, healing Li Fan's wound. Li Fan, how dare you trick me? Murong Bo glared at Li Fan furiously after losing his arm. So what? A complacent sneer hung on the corner of Li Fan's mouth. Murong Bo was truly too strong. His move of putting himself at death's door and coming back to life made Murong Bo suffer a big loss. It's only an arm. Do you think it's going to affect me? Murong Bo had practiced the 9 Buddha true scriptures. Thus he was able to absorb life force to repair his flesh. Do you think I'll give you a chance to recover? As Li Fan spoke, his body unknowingly appeared behind Murong Bo. Evil dragon steals the moon. Li Fan lashed out with a kick. A black dragon appeared under Li Fan's feet. He had finally comprehended the swordless state from the 3rd layer martial god realm. Chapter 1349. Li Fan, who had comprehended the swordless realm, instantly appeared behind Murong Bo and kicked at the back of Murong Bo's head. Dragons subduing Terrace. Evil dragon steals the moon. 120% power. A 2-meter-long black dragon descended from the sky. Following Li Fan's kick, it bit down on Murong Bo's head. Murong Bo was shocked. This Li Fan actually broke through again at this life and death juncture. Could this kid, who he had never put in his eyes, really be stronger than him? My divine skill is invincible. Who can hurt me? Murong Bo roared, raised his left hand, and a flame palm met the black dragon. Boom! The earth trembled. Both of them used their ultimate skills. A huge wave of air rushed in all directions, sending the surrounding people flying. After discovering that her sister was still breathing, Murong also turned her head and looked at the scene. She didn't know why, but she heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. But something was tugging at her heart. In this way, there was no way to end the ill-fated relationship between the two. Bang, bang, bang. Li Fan and Murong Bo exchanged a few more moves. Although Murong Bo had an evil skill like enrich, every time he fought with him, his power would be sucked away. However, Li Fan also had essence qi to protect his body. At this time, he exerted his power to the extreme. Every time he took a breath, he would absorb a huge amount of energy from heaven and earth to replenish his constantly consumed internal energy. Flame palm, heaven and earth annihilation, 130% power. Murong Bo's eyes were red. His left palm was already burning with flames. He raised the last of his strength and slapped at Li Fan. This powerful wave of fire scorched the surrounding ground. Even the clothes on Murong Bo's body were burning with red flames. Black Dragon Ice Palm, Heaven and Sea Upheaval, 130% power. Li Fan also slapped with his right palm. A white ice dragon shot out from his palm, freezing everything in its path. Boom! The two's moves collided again. A huge blast of energy exploded, and the ground beneath their feet crumbled. Their bodies were also sent flying by the shockwave. Li Fan flew more than 3 meters away. He forcefully flipped his body in the air, patted off the flames on his body, and landed on the ground. On the other hand, Murong's body was covered in a layer of frost. He flew 7 to 8 meters away and fell heavily on the ground. This move of Li Fan's was extremely damaging to him. He had suffered multiple injuries today, and this time, his meridians had been frozen by Li Fan's profound dragon ice palm. What shocked Murong was that Li Fan's frost power had actually sealed his enrich, preventing him from absorbing the surrounding energy. This move could not be said to not be ruthless. Murong, you old dog, die. Li Fan had already jumped into the air. At the same time, he used the flying dragon, slapping the tiger from the dragon's subduing platform. With a black dragon in his leg, he kicked towards Murong. No! Murong suddenly blocked in front of Li Fan, blocking his path. Get out of my way! Li Fan roared. Courting death. Li Fan's leg increased in speed, and the air was filled with the roar of a dragon. Murong seemed to have made up her mind. Not only did she not dodge, she opened her arms, closed her eyes, and a relieved smile appeared on her face. Stupid woman. Li Fan frowned as he forcefully retracted his leg in the air. For a moment, his essence flowed in the opposite direction and attacked his heart meridian. He fell to the ground, and blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. This move had caused his heart meridian to be damaged. The chance is here. Tai Bai Jinxing, who had been waiting for a long time, suddenly had his eyes lit up and instantly jumped towards Li Fan. Brat, return with me. Tai Bai Jinxing sneered, and his palm was about to land on Li Fan's body. But at this moment, 4 swords formed into a long dragon and instantly blocked in front of him. Tai Bai Jinxing retracted his body, and with a kick, he kicked away the dragon's sword and flew out, looking at the 4 beautiful sword maids blocking in front of him. Are you guys courting death? Tai Bai Jinxing coldly rebuked. You're the one courting death. Xia sneered. Azure Dragon's Sword Formation. Chun and her sisters activated the Azure Dragon Sword Formation, and the 4 swords entangled Tai Bai Jinxing. Although Tai Bai Jinxing was also a half-saint, the 4 sisters' sword formation was extremely strange, and for a moment, Tai Bai Jinxing was helpless. At this moment, Murong Bo sat up and looked at Murong in front of him, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. Murong, come over here, Murong Bo said, and with a stretch of his hand, Murong directly slid backwards, and Murong Bo grabbed her shoulder. Father, what are you doing? Murong Ing was somewhat shocked. That Bradley fan's ruthlessness exceeded my expectations. Now that I'm seriously injured, I'm afraid this Murong manor can no longer rely on me. Murong Bo had already made his decision, and he exerted force in his palm, making it impossible for Murong Ing to break free. From today onwards, you are the manor lord of Murong Manor. Remember, take revenge for me. As he spoke, Murong Bo's boundless inner force actually poured endlessly into Murong Ying's body. His body cultivated Yin Qi, while Murong Ying's body cultivated Yuan Qi that was refined by Li Fan. The moment the inner force poured in, it was like muddy water pouring into a pond, causing Murong Ying to feel extreme pain. How strong was Murong Bo? Half-saint. Murong Ying herself was also close to the strength of a half-saint. At this moment, Murong Bo poured all his strength into Murong Ying's body, causing the veins on her forehead to bulge, but she was unable to resist. In just a few breaths, Murong Bo's hair had turned gray, and his skin was shriveled, like an old man with one foot in the grave. He poured all his inner force into Murong Ying's body, and a trace of gratification appeared in his eyes. I had no choice but to lower myself to someone else. Now that you have the ability to soar into the sky, let that martial monarch go to hell. Remember, take down the #1 spot in the world and take revenge for me. If you and that Bradley fan get along, then even if I become a ghost, I won't be satisfied. After saying these two last words, Murong Bo was finally exhausted. He let out his last breath, and with a kick of his legs, he fell to the ground and died. Oh no, Tai-Bai Jinxing felt that something was wrong. If Murong Ing completely digested Murong Bo's inner force, she would probably become the biggest enemy of the martial imperial palace. Without hesitation, he risked getting injured to get rid of the 4 sword servants, pulled out the big sword behind him, and then stabbed Murong Ing. Xin Yuan swordsmanship, 1 sword to conquer the 9 provinces, 100% power. This sword quickly arrived in front of Murong Ing, and Murong Ing suddenly opened her eyes. Right now, her eyes were actually golden in color. Clang! Murong Ing just raised a finger and touched the tip of the sword. Crack! The sword, which was unknown, was directly shattered, and Tai-Bai Jinxing was hit by the huge force. He blacked out, spat out a mouthful of blood, and flew out. Martial Imperial Palace, damn it! Murong Ing scolded, but she quickly frowned again. Obviously, the power in her body had not been completely dissolved. I can't stay here for long. Tai-Bai Jinxing felt that something was wrong, and his eyes fell on other places. Chapter 1350. Saint Tyr. In today's pugilistic world, it has been a long time since someone of this level has appeared. To become a Saint Tyr, one must possess the strength of 100 dragons. However, it is extremely difficult to possess such power. This is not a rank that can be reached through bitter cultivation. For a martial fighter to cultivate internal strength and work hard for their entire life, it is already not bad to be able to enter the 10 Dragons Grandmaster realm. If one works a little harder and has some fortuitous encounters, it is also possible to gather 50 dragons in the Dantian and enter the Half-Saint realm. However, this Half-Saint realm has already made most martial fighters despair, and it is basically impossible to surpass the Half-Saint realm. For example, Li Fan's Dantian is already saturated after storing 50 dragon strength. No matter how he cultivates, his Dantian can no longer store any more power. And it is even more impossible to break through this shackle and achieve the strength of 100 dragons. However, it is possible to find another way to cultivate a second Dantian. However, the power of the 2 Dantians is a parallel line and does not affect each other. Even if they both cultivate to the Half-Saint realm, they cannot be added together to truly step into the Saint Tyr. In the current pugilistic world, not to mention the Saint Tyr, even a Half-Saint Tyr is only a legend. Even Imperial concubine Zhou did not manage to enter the Saint Tyr. This is too scary, Guan Bao and the others looked at Murong Ying's figure and could not help but be shocked. This is the Saint Tier. Li Fan also looked at his fiancée, his eyes flowing with extraordinary splendor. Li Fan, save me. At this time, a cry for help came from the side. Li Fan turned his head, his eyes wide open. Tai Bai Jinxing, seeing that his sneak attack on Murong Ying failed, actually kidnapped Liao Wushuang and jumped down the cliff behind him. Stay here. Li Fan's feet bounced like lightning. He chased after Tai Bai Jinxing. See you at the Martial God Hall. Tai Bai Jinxing's body is like a meteor. Using some unknown technique, with a few teleportation, he disappeared from Li Fan's sight in the blink of an eye. Stop! Li Fan wanted to give chase, but the moment he activated his inner force, his body felt like it was overturning the seas and rivers. He immediately knelt on the ground, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. Just now, his internal energy had flowed backward and injured his meridians. Now, his internal energy was not flowing smoothly. Whenever he tried to circulate his internal energy, he would feel his meridians breaking. Therefore, he could only watch as Tai Bai Jinxing ran away with Liao Wushuang. Damn it! Li Fan smashed his fist on the ground. His hand was covered in blood. This time, he suffered a great loss. 10 Murong Bo is not as important as 1 Liao Wushuang. Don't worry. Xiai squatted beside Li Fan and hugged his shoulders gently. Sister Wushuang is Liao Ju's daughter. I don't think she will do anything to her. Martial Imperial Hall, I won't rest until these fellows are dead. From the very beginning, the Martial Imperial Hall had designs on him. Not only did they fail to deal with him, they even kidnapped Liao Wushuang. At this time, the people from Seven Knights Villa were still fighting with Murong's men of sacrifice. At this time, Murong Ying suddenly raised her hand and shouted, "Stop!" Her voice was not loud, but it was filled with internal energy. For a moment, it reverberated in everyone's ears, causing pain in their ears and blackening their vision. Only Murong Ying would be able to display such inner force. Li Fan took the rejuvenation pills from Xia Yi's hand and stuffed a few into his mouth. He stood up and looked at the white-haired Murong Ying in front of him. Murong Ying, what else do you want? Murong Ying looked at Li Fan. Her eyes seemed to be in a trance, but it only lasted for a moment. Soon, she returned to her usual cold appearance. Today's attack on Seven Knights Villa was instigated by the Martial Imperial Hall. Murong Villa, do not make weapons for others. You want her tree? Li Fan could tell that Murong Ying was intentionally letting him have his way today. Murong Ying, you saw it too. The pugilistic world is in turmoil. The Martial Imperial Hall and the Eight-Nation Alliance are eyeing us covetously. If we continue to fight, it will only cause internal friction, and then outsiders will succeed. Clang! Before Li Fan could finish his words, a sword stabbed into the ground at his feet. Li Fan, I'm afraid we can't be together because of the blood feud between us. As she spoke, Murong Ying reached out and cut her long hair in two. The goddess's waist-length hair was chopped down to her shoulders. Murong Ying threw the 3,000 silver threads in front of Li Fan. Our friendship is like this worry. Today I'll cut it off. When we meet again in the future, it will be a fight to the death. Li Fan felt bitter in his heart and laughed at himself. Ever since I was harmed by your father, when have we met and got along well? Enough! Murong Ying shouted and interrupted Li Fan's words. We have different standpoints. Let's not talk about this. I've received your kindness. I'll return this vital energy to you. As she spoke, Murong Ying's hair fluttered. Suddenly, a myriad of vital energy rushed out from her body and pierced through the sky, injecting into Li Fan's body through the air. After the vital energy was injected, the inner force in Li Fan's body swelled and collided in his dantian, as if trying to find a place to break through. Although she returned this power to Li Fan, Murong Ying already had the strength of a martial sage. She could cultivate back the inner force that she lacked in the future. Murong's disciple. Listen up, follow me down the mountain. Yes, the death warriors of the Murong family now followed Murong Ying's lead. After Murong Ying finished what she needed to do, she picked up her father's corpse and, without looking back, went down the mountain with a group of Murong family disciples. Li Fan looked at the corpses of the Seven Knights Villa and could not help but sigh deeply. Originally, he thought that it was just a group of clowns from the Eight-Nation Alliance army coming to cause trouble. He did not expect that in the end, it would set off a heaven-shaking battle. From the beginning, it turned into a fierce battle between the Seven Knights Villa, the Imperial Army, and the Murong Villa. If not for the Villa's abundant martial force, perhaps this time, it would really be a disaster. Villa Master, we did not protect you well enough. Please punish us. Guan Wenbao and the others saw through Li Fan's thoughts and all knelt down in front of Li Fan. The entire villa knelt down. It was a spectacular sight. Forget it. This is also a lesson for us. Li Fan waved his hand. In just a day, you seem to have grown a lot. From today onwards, the inner disciples of the Seven Knights Villa must cultivate diligently and cannot waste their time. In front of a strong enemy, even I do not have the time to be lazy. Moreover, the Seven Knights Villa will form the Seven Knights Sword Guards. My 4 great sword guard will teach you the sword formation method. Chunner, what do you think? As you command, husband. Chun also knelt there and nodded. All right, everyone get up. I'm not an emperor. There is no need to kneel to me. The Martial Imperial Palace asked me to go. I still have to save Wu Shuang. Villa Master, when are you leaving? Xiaohou quickly asked about Li Fan's schedule. There is no hurry. I need to go into seclusion for a month. When I come out, it will be the day we fight the Martial God Palace. Chapter 1351. The Seven Knights Villa was reopened, and the previous battle seemed to have never happened. There were still many tourists here, and the place was still bustling with noise. The higher-ups also did not say anything about the invasion of the 8 countries. After all, no one was proud of this battle. Only General Ran and his faction were very happy. As long as they could protect Dragon God No. 1, everything else was negotiable. The purpose of the 8 countries did not need to be made clear. Everyone knew in their hearts. Li Fan was also the last support of General Ran and the others. As long as Dragon God No. 1 was in the sky, then the Eagle faction would be able to win the final victory, and those people in the upper echelons would also be eliminated. Therefore, Dragon God No. 1 was extremely important. No matter the price, it must be kept. However, the appearance of the Martial Emperor Palace also made General Ran and the others vigilant. The Martial Emperor belonged to a self-proclaimed lineage and was known as the Martial Emperor. A long time ago, the current emperor had tried his best to get rid of this civilian organization. There could only be one ruler in a country, and every generation of the Martial Emperor had great ambitions. The small Jianghu could not satisfy their ambitions at all. Now that the Martial Emperor was going to return to the Jianghu, General Ran and the others were also worried. However, this matter naturally had to be solved by Li Fan, the Guardian of China. Everything was waiting for Li Fan to come out of seclusion. At this time, Li Fan was sitting quietly in the secret room, feeling the primordial qi in his body. Last time, when Murong Ying returned the primordial qi in her body to him, there was a little bit of yin qi. It was this little bit of yin qi that made Li Fan feel a little different. The reason why Murong Ying could break through to the Martial Saint realm was because of 2 reasons. One was Li Fan's primordial qi, and the other was the yin qi in Murong Bo's body. If one wanted to break through to the Martial Saint realm, it was impossible to simply cultivate one kind of inner force. Another kind of top-notch inner force was needed to break through the human limit together, so that one strength could reach the Martial Saint realm. How could ordinary martial artists know about this kind of thing? Especially after reaching the half-saint realm, he had been refining his internal energy day and night. He had never imagined that he would need the assistance of peak internal energy of other attributes to break through. Murong Ying discovered this and used this method to tell him. This woman never speaks from her heart. It was impossible to cultivate 2 top-notch internal energies at the same time with just one dantian. Fortunately, Li Fan had a second dantian in his body. He sent the yin qi into the second dantian and used it to cultivate the power of the yin qi. On the third day of seclusion, his second dantian was already filled with yin qi, ready to help Li Fan break through at any time. Saint Tier, Li Fan felt the two powers flowing in his body and sighed with emotion. This was a level that countless experts could only dream of, but he was finally within reach. Because of a union joy gu, Li Fan could faintly sense that Liao Wushuang was still safe. Li Fan swore in his heart, "Wushuang, wait for me. I will bring you back soon." Everything was ready. On the fourth day, Li Fan kept himself in his best condition and started to break through. Li Fan closed his eyes and entered his spiritual consciousness. In this world, the ninth star above Li Fan's head finally started to flicker with a weak light. Although it was only a single spark, Li Fan knew that this was already a very good start. As long as he could light up this ninth star, his nine dragons art would truly be able to cultivate to the final stage, breaking through the profound entrances in his body and reaching the realm of the Sage Realm. Li Fan circulated his energy and sent the inner force from his two dantians into the sealed ninth acupoint in his body. This ninth acupoint was like an iron shell, incomparably thick. But under the impact of the two forces, a crack slowly appeared. Li Fan suppressed his joyful emotions and continued to circulate his energy, slowly breaking through the final hurdle in his body. While Li Fan was in seclusion, the Seven Knights Manor was also nurturing its own forces. When the Manor Lord came out of seclusion, he would head to the Martial Imperial Palace to start the battle. At that time, the Manor Lord alone would definitely not be enough. At this moment, the experts in the manor were all working hard to break through to the second level of the Martial God Realm. Jiang Yi, have you grasped the ropes? Lu Xiaohu looked at Jiang Yi, who was practicing the dragon subduing sword technique, and could not help but ask. Jiang Yi shook her head. Not to mention the second level of the Martial God Realm. She had not even fully comprehended the dragon subduing sword technique that her master had given her. She had only grasped about 30 to 40% of it. We're still quite far from master. Lu Xiaohu was a little anxious. Is there no good way to increase our strength? You and I should not stay in this manner any longer. Jiang Yi thought for a while and suddenly said, Nonsense. Are you going to betray your master and leave? Lu Xiaohu was furious when he heard this. Pighead, what nonsense are you thinking? Jiang Yi glared at Lu Xiao. Although you and I can cultivate in peace in this manner, with master's protection, we are destined to not make much progress. Oh, are you saying that we should go out and explore the world? Lu Xiaohu finally understood what Jiang Yi meant. Yes, Jiang Yi nodded. That was exactly what she was thinking. That's a good idea. Let's wait until after the battle with the Martial God Palace. I'll talk to Master, and let us go down the mountain to train. Lu Xiaohu clapped his hands. It's decided then. Come, let me try your dragon's subduing sword technique. What? You only learned 10% of Master's dragon subduing platform, and you want to spar with me? Jiang Yi raised her eyebrows. I know you're strong, but I'm not any weaker than you. Although I have yet to figure out how to break through to the second level of the Martial God Realm, I've already mastered 50% of the dragon subduing platform's leg technique. You're bragging a little too much. Jiang Yi rolled her eyes. Lu Xiaohu did not speak. His figure suddenly flickered and disappeared in front of Jiang Yi. Huh? Jiang Yi was a little surprised. Lu Xiaohu appeared behind her and kicked the back of Jiang Yi's head with the evil dragon, steals the moon. However, Jiang Yi was not careless. She did not even turn her head. With a backhand slash, she headed straight for Lu Xiaohu. However, Jiang Yi's sure-hit strike had actually missed. At the same time, the floor under her feet suddenly disappeared, causing Jiang Yi to lose her balance and stagger. Without waiting for Jiang Yi to stabilize his body, Lu Xiaohu appeared again and gave a side kick. This time, his foot stopped right beside Jiang Yi's ear. The strong wind swept across Jiang Yi's face and cracked his mask, revealing a delicate and beautiful face. You cheated. Jiang Yi was unconvinced. You used your ability. This is also one of my fighting styles. Li Xiaohu said without a care. Since you have it, you can use it too. I can't be bothered with you. While the two were quarreling, a commotion suddenly came from the foot of the mountain. A villa disciple hurried up and walked towards the main hall, but was stopped by Lu Xiaohu. What's the panic? Not good, Chief. The 8-Nation Coalition Army is here again. Chapter 1352. After Adam returned in a sorry state, he was severely reprimanded. The plan to seize the controller of Dragon God No. 1 should not have failed, and it could not fail. In the end, Adam, as the leader of Team A, led the elites of the various countries, but in the end, he became a laughable spectator. He even fled in such a sorry state. It was simply a disgrace to America. So this time, Adam came prepared. After learning about Li Fan's exceptional combat prowess, Adam was much more vigilant this time. He applied for the highest combat order. This time, other than the elites of the 8 nations, he had also brought along the strongest combat power of the United States, the 3rd-generation chip, Zeus. With this Zeus chip, Adam believed that even if the creator of the Golden Empire was resurrected, he would be able to kill him again. Moreover, these ignorant Chinese martial artists. So what if they knew some martial arts? He would immediately let them know what absolute power was. This time, Adam brought over 100 people and aggressively went to the 7 Knights Mountain Villa, preparing to seize the controller of Dragon God No. 1 again. Adam, are you guys done? He looked at the foreign devils in front of her and could not help but frown. Do you think our villa is your backyard that you can come and go as you please? How can you speak in front of Secretary Li? At this time, a few Chinese officials who came with them spoke first. A few people surrounded a middle-aged man in a Chinese tunic suit. Many people fought to hold umbrellas for this man, to shade him from the sun. It seemed that he was not a minor official. An official shouted at Xia. He is the Secretary General of our Provincial Party Committee. Li Sr., Lu Wan, stood beside Xia Yi and transmitted a message to her. Xia Yi slightly frowned. She did not expect that even such an official would come. It was really surprising. However, it seemed that this Secretary General Li was a dove. Otherwise, why would he come to this place? Xiao Su, I have a meeting in the afternoon, so I can't accompany the representatives. Treat them well and don't neglect the representatives, understand? Li Sun looked at Xia Yi and did not say anything else. He turned around and went down the mountain, leaving only the official surnamed Su to accompany Adam. Did you hear that? Secretary General Li said to treat the representatives well. The one surnamed Su was a section chief. As soon as Li Sun left, he immediately swaggered around and shouted at Xia Yi. Strange. What does it have to do with me? Xia Qi pursed her lips. I won't rely on flattering him to get promoted or get rich. Why should I listen to him? If you want to entertain them, you can open a manor to entertain them. Li Fan's Shangfang sword had an official position. Even in the army, he had the title of major. Moreover, he held the power of life and death, so he was never afraid of political officials. That was why Xiaohu's attitude was so unyielding. She did not take Section Chief Su seriously. I see that you don't plan to open this manor, do you? Section Chief Su had never been taken advantage of like this. He frowned. I will get the people from the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to check on you all tomorrow. You are welcome to investigate. Xiaohu chuckled. If you're done, you can leave, right? Our manor is not open to the public. Visitors are not welcome. Goodbye. You're simply preposterous. Section Chief Su was so angry that his nose was crooked. Secretary Li had already shown up once, and they did not even care about him. How dare they? Lawless. Lawless. You are the ones who are lawless, right? Xiaohu sneered. This is private property. It's illegal for you all to trespass on private property. Men, send the guests off? Yes. The 12-7 hero swordsmen walked over. They wore golden robes with arrow sleeves, and each carried a sword on their back. They looked heroic and extraordinary. The 7 hero swordsmen were an elite team nurtured by the government. Xiaohu used them to intimidate these foreigners. Please, The 12 sword guards attacked at the same time, striking out with their palms. The invisible inner force sent Section Chief Su and his subordinates out, landing at the entrance of the villa. Section Chief Su's face turned green. This made him lose face. If this gets out, how can he continue working in the department? Also, if Secretary Li knows about this, he will not be satisfied with his work. Then his future will be over. You people have no respect for the law. Section Chief Su's face turned red and shouted. You really like to put the blame on others. Xiaohou sighed. It is because of these useless people that China's martial arts world did not become what it is now. If you don't give me an explanation, I will seal this place. Section Chief Su, you are only a section chief. You are not qualified to seal the Seven Heroes Manor. Usually, Liao Wushuang was in charge of diplomatic affairs, but now that Liao Wushuang was absent, Lu Warner took over her work. She walked forward and said to Section Chief Su, not to mention you, even Secretary Li does not have the authority to touch my Seven Heroes Manor. If Li's son had the authority, why would he show up and leave? This old fox thinks that the manor is afraid of him. He is wrong. These foreigners are all tigers and wolves. They must not be allowed to enter the manor. Otherwise, the secret controller of Dragon God Number 1 would be found by these foreign devils. Everyone, please leave. Xiaohou continued. I do not wish to say the same thing twice. You all, just when Section Chief Su wanted to say something, Adam stopped him. Section Chief Su, it's okay. Leave this to me. Adam chuckled and said, sometimes we should use some unconventional methods to deal with these unreasonable people. Oh. Xiaohou also smiled. I want to know what kind of unconventional method it is. Since we can't use reason, we naturally have to use force. Adam frowned. Interesting. A defeated general dares to speak so bravely? Xiaohou ridiculed. If not for the royal army saving you last time, you would have been crippled. Even now, you still dare to act presumptuously in my manner? The current me is not the same as before. Adam coldly looked at Xiaohou. I advise you to let us in immediately and let us take a look around the manor. Otherwise, I will have to use my last resort. As he said that, Adam stretched out his right hand. A bolt of blue lightning suddenly appeared in his palm. The lightning arcs began to distort. Ability? Xiaohou frowned. Could it be that this Adam is also a mutant? That's impossible. Mutants are all wanted targets. Even the United States wouldn't dare to offend the world. Get out of the way. A powerful aura burst out from Adam's body. It actually caused Xiaohou to take a step back. Chapter 1353. He was a little surprised by Adam's powerful aura. Did this foreigner take some medicine after he went back? How did he become so strong all of a sudden? However, when she turned around, she saw that under Adam's white hairy skin, red blood vessels were faintly glowing. She immediately understood what was going on. This must be the work of the genetic chip. It can actually increase a person's potential to such a terrifying level. However, it should have also caused a certain degree of damage to the body. This kind of gene stimulation is definitely not the right way to do it. However, Chinese martial arts practitioners pursued both internal and external cultivation and the balance of yin and yang. They also needed to be down-to-earth and diligent. It seemed good to increase one's strength quickly in a short period of time, but it was inevitably harmful to the body. After all, it was just an unorthodox way. Although this kind of power was strong, it made all the martial artists in the Seven Knights Villa feel ashamed. Can you feel it? This is my strength, Adam said proudly. Not only me, but everyone behind me is also an extremely powerful warrior. We have the inheritance of the gods. How can you small Chinese martial artists fight against us? As he spoke, the people behind Adam also exuded a powerful aura, which slightly surprised Xia. The technological power of the United States was really powerful. They had actually created such a group of peak experts. Adam seemed to have surpassed the Grandmaster level and was almost at the level of a semi-saint. Humans were really the most terrifying. Was this the creation of a god? Remember our name. We have a new organization. We will call it Gods of Dusk, Adam said arrogantly. In this organization, there are countless strong people. You can't imagine. Gods of Dusk was a new alliance of 8 countries. As China gradually became stronger, this alliance was still attracting more countries to join. At that time, no one could stop them. However, the premise of all this was that they had to destroy Dragon God number 1. They absolutely could not let this terrible weapon be shot into space. Otherwise, China would have the power to compete with the United States, which was absolutely impossible. Don't look down on the Chinese martial arts world. Xia, he waved her hand, and the experts in the villa also walked out. Now, Old Guan and Yin Kai had begun to cultivate their Numa. Their strength had also successfully broken through to the Grandmaster level, and they were slowly moving towards the half-saint level. Lu Xiaohu and Jiang Yi, on the other hand, were still lingering at the peak of perfection. Their growth was already very fast, but their foundations were not solid enough. They still needed more training. Chun Junhua had just become a Grandmaster and was consolidating his strength. Supposedly, Subhoodie, who was far away on the Li Clan Island, had not only successfully broken through to become a Grandmaster of his generation, but had also successfully entered the Grandmaster level. As for Imperial Concubine Zhou of the villa, she was already a semi-sage. However, she had also been in closed-door training recently. The main reason was that she had been asleep for too long and had yet to recover the feeling of fighting back then. Thus, she planned to properly cultivate her martial skills. Recently, Luo Xiuwu had temporarily joined the Seven Heroes Mountain Villa. She allowed the entire E-Sword to temporarily merge with the Seven Heroes Mountain Villa. Li Fan and Xiaoho both knew that Luo Xiuwu was only doing this to add some combat power to the Seven Knights Mountain Villa. With the help of Li Fan, Luo Xiuwu also successfully entered the strength of a generation of masters. There were also a few experts under the E-Sword. Although Zhang Xiaodian had lost an arm, his martial arts were still very solid. He, Jin Jiumao, Knight Rain Tower, and Guo Mingming were all at the peak of perfection. As long as they were given some opportunities, they might be able to break through to the level of a generation of masters. This was also where Luo Xiuwu's intelligence surpassed others. After joining the Seven Heroes Mountain Villa, she could learn the way to cultivate vitality. After cultivating vitality, the speed of cultivating internal strength could not be compared in a day. These people could be said to be the main combat power of the Seven Heroes Mountain Villa. The other ones were the 4 beautiful sword maids. Each of these 4 little beauties had the strength of a generation of masters. After they joined forces, the 4 emblem sword formation could even kill a semi-sage. Under Li Fan's instructions, the beautiful sword maids began to create the 7 heroes sword guards. With the help of the vitality cultivation method and Luo Xiaofeng's medicinal pills, they had cultivated a total of 36 people. However, this was far from enough. According to Li Fan's plan, he wanted to create 108 people, which were the 36 celestial stars and 72 earthly fiends. The selection of the sword guards was extremely careful. Because of their amazing combat power, they had to be loyal to the mountain villa. If their talent was not good, they could be nurtured, but if their character was not good, it would be a big problem. Currently, the 36 celestial Dippersor Guardians already had some achievements, and the 12 standing behind Xiaoho were even more outstanding. On average, each of them had strength at the peak of the ascension level, and it wouldn't be long before they broke through to the peak. In addition to the 4 emblem sword formation, Li Fan also simplified the dragon subduing sword technique and changed it into a set of 3 dragon subduing swords. He gave it to the sword guards to strengthen their individual combat power. The chaotic battle had completely woken up Li Fan. In the past, he always thought that he could protect the entire mountain villa by himself, but reality proved that he was wrong. He had to raise a strong army to be able to resist the invasion of outsiders. At this time, Adam came with his men to show off. As soon as they activated their aura, the entire mountain villa was immediately mobilized. The 36 swordsmen of the 7 heroes appeared together. Although they only had the strength of a peak expert, each of them had been personally trained by the four great sword servants. Moreover, they had fought a bloody battle, so their auras were not weaker than the auras of the warriors of the gods of dusk. Moreover, there were also top-notch experts like Guan Wenbao and Yin Kai. The mountain villa's aura instantly suppressed the aura of the gods of dusk. Oomph. Adam snorted coldly. The Zeus system in his body was activated, and the 7 nanonuclei in his body immediately operated, providing Adam with a huge amount of energy. The aura of a half-step saint was quite strong. Adam's cold snort spread out and instantly broke through the aura of the 7 heroes' mountain villa. Yin Kai and Guan Wenbao both groaned. They bore the brunt of the impact and felt the impact of the powerful aura. Their faces could not help but turn pale, and the blood in their bodies surged. In just a month, this Adam had gone from a good-for-nothing to such a strong cultivator. It seemed that America's so-called chip was indeed heaven-defying. The strength of a half-step saint was absolutely suppressive to a grandmaster. Yin Kai and Guan Wenbao were both mid-stage grandmasters, and there was still a big gap between them and a half-step saint. At this time, the 4 great sword servants were also not complete. Chun'er was still accompanying the villa master in seclusion, and the remaining 3 sword servants could not form the 4 emblem sword formation. The 4 emblems sword formation was missing, and its power was greatly reduced. "You Chinese monkeys, who dares to fight with us?" Adam began to provoke. Chapter 1354. You foreign devil, you dare to be so arrogant. A delicate rebuke came from the side. The one who spoke was none other than the newly appointed head captain of the 7 hero sword guards, Wang Xiaoran. Wang Xiaoran's talent was extremely high, and she was loyal to the villa. Thus, Xiaohou pushed her to this position. Before imperial concubine Zhou went into seclusion, she specially passed on 10 years of cultivation to her. Imperial concubine Zhou's cultivation in these 10 years was not weak. In an instant, Wang Xiaoran's strength soared and entered the peak of perfection. After that, Wang Xiaoran had to rely on her own cultivation to break through. The current Wang Xiaoran had crescent eyebrows, starry eyes, red lips, and white teeth. Compared to the delicate and pretty little girl in the past, she was many times more beautiful. In the past, Wang Xiaoran was more innocent, but at this moment, she had a kind of heroic charm. She used a purple hairband to tie her hair up and casually tied it behind her back. She also wore a golden arrow sleeve robe, but on the outside was a black cardigan with red dragon patterns. The clothes of the sword guards were more shapely, and Wang Xiaoran, who practiced martial arts all year round, was even more curvaceous. Her body was more slender and healthier than ordinary beauties. The 2 pieces of clothing hung down to her slender and beautiful thighs. The legs of a female martial artist did not have the slightest bit of fat. Every part was so perfect and well-proportioned, causing many men in the villa to secretly admire her, unwilling to move their eyes away. Like for fun, just Wang Xiaoran's legs were enough to attract the eyes of many men. At this moment, Wang Xiaoran had a 7 hero sword forged by the villa on her waist. She stood high up on the stage. The hilt of this 7 hero sword was wrapped with a black protective belt. The edge of the sword was a unique tiger head, and the scabbard was a black scabbard with golden tiger patterns. The 7 hero villa was divided into 7 ranks. From top to bottom, there were tiger, deer, bear, ape, crane, toad, and snake. The highest rank was dragon. Only Li Fan and the 2 hall masters were qualified to wear it. For example, Wang Xiaoran's rank was tiger, the same rank as Xiaohou and the others. At this time, Li Fan was in seclusion. As the leader of the 7 hero swordsmen, Wang Xiaoran had the responsibility to protect the manor. When she saw that these foreign devils had come to cause trouble again, she, who had become much stronger, also felt a little confident. She immediately stood up and prepared to repel these foreign devils. 7 hero swordsmen, get into formation, Wang Xiaoran shouted, and the 36 7 hero swordsmen shouted in unison. Yes, the sound was uniform and full of vitality. It reverberated in the manor and lingered for a long time. Even Adam and the others could not help but turn pale. Attack! As Wang Xiaoran spoke, she drew out the 7-gallant sword from her waist. With a clang, it was as if a silver dragon had flown out. The cloud-patterned sword's edge, which was made of special steel, immediately caused Adam to frown. Following that, all 36 swords were unsheathed in unison, as if they were one person. When the leaning sword hall master, Luo Xiuwu, saw this scene, she couldn't help but feel a little envious. As expected of an army created by Li Fan, this kind of imposing manner, even their elite team, Sword did not have. After all, the soldiers of Sword were all martial artists. It was impossible for them to train like soldiers. Each and every one of them were very arrogant. Long Fengyu, the alliance leader of Whistling West Wind, was extremely jealous. If his alliance had this kind of fighting strength, why would he need to live under someone else's roof and hide in this villa to preserve his strength? However, Long Fengyu only cared about his jealousy and forgot one point. Li Fan not only had strength, he also had a military background. This was the condition for the 7-gallant villa to be able to transcend the rules. With such a powerful fighting strength, how could the government be at ease? As the saying goes, how can one allow others to sleep beside one's bed? Even if it was General Rand, if he knew that Li Fan had this kind of armed force, he would probably have to restrain him. But now is a special time, so the stronger Li Fan is, the better. You guys want to rebel? When Section Chief Su saw this scene, he could not help but tremble. He was just a government official. How could he have seen something like this? To think that you were a Chinese government official. Wang Xiaoran reprimanded him without any trace of politeness. Don't you know what it means to expel the Tartars and raise our prestige? You, this fellow, actually ran to become a slave of a foreign devil. You're truly regressing the more you live. You are spouting nonsense. Section Chief Su's face turned red like a pig's liver. This is a friendship between countries. Fart friendship between countries. They're already at our doorstep, and you are still daydreaming. Wang Xiaoran was very impolite as she pointed at Section Chief Su and loudly said, I think this guy is a spy sent by the United States. The 7-gallant villa's master, Li Fan, is the imperial sword. I have the power to kill these officials who do not work and are living off of us. Come, take him down and hand him over to the master to deal with. Yes, the 36 swords uniformly pointed at Section Chief Su. Section Chief Su was so scared that he fell to the ground. His crotch could not help but become wet. This 7-gallant villa is really going to rebel. Too impudent. Adam angrily rebuked. What kind of ghost swordsman are you? Are you trying to break the law? This is our own matter. What does it have to do with you? Yin Kai had already stabilized his breathing. When he heard this, he curled his lips. You have been the Pacific Police for too long. Aren't you being too controlling? As China's most friendly ally, it is indeed time to discipline you traitors. Adam arrogantly said, Our Gods of Dusk is already allied with many countries and has the highest law enforcement power. We have the right to interfere in the affairs of all countries. Right now, we suspect that your villa is hiding a nuclear weapon and must be carefully searched. Your mother's fart. In this kind of situation, as a security director, Huang Lei originally did not have the qualifications to speak. But when he heard Adam's words, he could not help but become angry and directly started cursing. Hiding a motherfucking nuclear weapon? Why don't you say that our villa is hiding your mother's underwear? Let me tell you, your mother's underwear is on me. Do you want me to take it off and return it to you? Xiaohua and the other girls heard this, and their faces turned red as they could not help but curse. This Huang Lei is really shooting his mouth off. If these words were heard by other foreigners, they might be surprised. This Chinese actually maintained a friendship with their mother? But Adam was very familiar with China. When he heard this, he immediately knew that it was an insult. When he heard this, he immediately flew into a rage, and his body exploded with energy. You're full of nonsense. Take down these terrorists for me. With his order, The elite soldiers of gods of dusk behind him immediately prepared to attack. The 7 gallant sword guards of the villa also raised their swords, ready to fight at any time. Chapter 1355. Although Adam had brought a lot of people with him, the Dusk of the Gods still had a large disparity in strength. The only people he could rely on were the 10 A-class warriors he had brought from America. These A-class warriors were equivalent to the Grandmasters of China. With them leading the charge, Adam could rest assured. As for the other warriors, they were all sent by other countries. They were also Adam's cannon fodder. There were about 100 of them in total. It was not a small force and was more than enough to flatten this villa. However, Adam did not expect that there were so many experts in the Seven Knights Villa. Moreover, there were more than 30 golden-clothed sword guards. They had formed a strange sword formation and were able to fight against 10 enemies alone. They're all ants. Adam adjusted the energy in his body. He had decided to personally deal with these terrorists. The 7 nanonuclei in Adam's body started to revolve at high speed again. His body was surrounded by bluish-purple lightning. This was the power of the Zeus system. Zeus, the Lord of Lightning, the King of Gods. As Adam adjusted his energy, his body gradually left the ground and floated half a foot above the ground. The support of the lightning and the ionic energy allowed him to temporarily break free from gravity. This godlike feeling made Adam's confidence soar. The abilities of the Golden Empire had been completely cloned into the Dusk of the Gods. Technology allowed humans to become gods and defeat everything. Old Guan, let's deal with him together. At this time, Li Fan and Imperial concubine Zhou were in seclusion. Therefore, the 2 strongest fighters in the Seven Knights Villa were Guan Wenbao and Yin Kai. Chun Junhua was protecting the villa with some other disciples. The 2 protectors had decided to deal with Adam together. Take this, Guan Wenbao shouted. At the same time, he summoned his flaming warhorse. He rode on it and swung his blade at Adam's head. Among the martial god true bodies, Guan Wenbao's martial god was the most similar to a level 3 martial god. However, because he was good at fighting on horseback, he gave up the martial god strength and became a support. Adam sneered and shot out a bolt of lightning from his palm towards Guan Wenbao. Just as the lightning bolt was about to land on Guan Wenbao, Yin Kai, who was at the side, separated his hands. Behind Yin Kai, a sage-like old Taoist appeared faintly. His hands separated into 2 parts, immediately causing the lightning to fall to the side. Adam frowned, but Guan Wenbao's blade had already brought along a wave of fire, instantly falling on Adam's head. Buzz, buzz, buzz. However, this unstoppable crescent blade was blocked by an invisible shield. At the edge of the blade, there were some tiny lightning arcs that bounced off. You think you could defeat me like this? Ignorant Chinese martial artist. I have obtained the power of the gods. As he spoke, Adam didn't move. 2 bolts of bluish-purple lightning suddenly burst out from his back. The lightning condensed into a pair of wings, gently flapping behind him. Back then, when Li Fan was cultivating, because his dantian was full and the power in his body couldn't be used up, a circle of light formed behind him. As for this Adam, his power condensed into a physical form, forming a pair of lightning wings on his back. It was somewhat similar to the Blood Clan. Guan Wenbao wanted to pull back his crescent blade, but there was suddenly a powerful suction force on his blade. Adam's body seemed to have a magnet, firmly sucking in Guan Wenbao's crescent blade. You want to leave? Leave your life behind first. As Adam spoke, he opened his mouth and spat out a bolt of lightning that bounced towards Guan Wenbao. Guan Wenbao frowned. At this moment, he couldn't even let go of the crescent blade, even if he wanted to. The suction force of the lightning was still very strong, firmly sucking Guan Wenbao's hands to the hilt. However, he wasn't worried because there was still a fellow called Yin Kai. Yin-yang diagram. Yin Kai used his unique Tai Chi power. The lightning bolt that Adam shot out was actually hit Askew again. Damn it, Adam was a little unhappy. He had absolute strength, but now he was continuously suffering losses. What kind of power did that man have? Why was it so strange? Before Adam could figure out, the old martial god behind Yin Kai had already swept his palm on Guan Wenbao's body. Adam's unique lightning power was actually dissolved in an instant. Guan Wenbao's body was also swept into the air, empty Hua cleaving. However, the two of them were fighting in perfect coordination. Guan Wenbao's body was in the air. With the force of the fall, the large blade brought out flames. A simple and unadorned MT Hua cleaving, but it set off shocking energy. Even Adam couldn't help but be shocked when he saw it. Fuck, these damned Huaxia people. Why do they have so many strange attacking methods? Adam didn't want to face this move head-on. He flapped his wings and wanted to leave. However, the best battlefield support, Yin Kai, wouldn't let him go so easily. Stay here. Yin Kai pressed his hands on the ground. Adam only felt that something was pulling his body, and he couldn't move even half a step. Get out of my way. Adam was furious when he saw that Guan Wenbao's blade was about to reach him. He roared, and the 7 nanonuclei also revolved at high speed. A powerful force erupted from his body, and lightning struck everywhere, and actually sent Guan Wenbao and Yin Kai flying. The two of them rolled in the air, dispelling the lightning power, and landed on the ground. They re-evaluated Adam in front of them. This foreign devil was quite powerful. You people really don't know the meaning of death. Adam's body floated slightly in the air, and the lightning wings on his back kept flapping. I'm already a god. Your lives are like ants, and I can crush them to death with a pinch. However, I'm different from you. I represent justice, and I am the law. You terrorists, I will give you the most severe punishment. Punishment my ass. Yin Kai was furious. This stupid foreign devil really thought that he was someone important. He was just a half-step saint, and he had used dishonest methods to improve his strength. How could he compare to Li Fan, who had trained step by step? He was very unhappy to be suppressed by this kind of person. He and Guan Wenbao pounced again, and the two of them attacked left and right, trying to suppress Adam. However, Adam was indeed very powerful. He once again gained the upper hand against Yin Kai and Yin Kai. Lightning fall. 2 lightning bolts suddenly landed on Guan Wenbao and Yin Kai. With 2 cracking sounds, they fell to the ground, and black smoke rose from their bodies. Although they had divine skills to protect their bodies, the two of them still suffered some internal injuries. The two of you have performed well, but in the end, you are still useless Chinese martial artists. Adam sneered as he stretched out his hand and pressed it on their heads. I'll send you to hell now. Chapter 1356. Although a semi-sage only relied on external items to increase his strength, he was still able to completely defeat the 2 grandmasters, Guan Wenbao and Yin Kai. Both hands were placed on top of the 2 men's heads. As long as he activated the power of thunder and lightning, he would be able to turn their heads into charcoal. But at this moment, a man's voice came from the sky. If you want to touch my people, you have to ask for my opinion first. Adam raised his head, only to see a white jade-like palm. He did not have time to kill the 2 seriously injured Huaxia people. Almost subconsciously, he raised his hands and released a huge thunderbolt. The power of this thunderbolt was something that even Guan Wenbao and Yin Kai could not deal with together. Even an armored tank could be pierced by this thunderbolt. But that white jade-like palm easily tore apart his thunderbolt and once again appeared in front of him. Although Adam was a little surprised, he was not worried. After all, he still had the static magnetic field around him. Even a nuclear bomb would not be afraid of the static magnetic field. How could it be afraid of a palm? But things did not go as he wished. The static magnetic field that he had high hopes for was actually shattered by this palm, like a piece of paper. She placed her palm on his chest and patted his body. Puff! Adam felt as if he was hit by a train. His body immediately flew out, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Along with his flying body, the blood splattered in the air. Bang! Adam's body smashed into the mountain wall behind him, creating a pit. A terrible pain struck him, causing his vision to turn black and his ears to buzz. "Are you all right?" Li Fan wore a white open-collar long robe. His eyes were filled with concern. He reached out and pulled up the two brothers who had fought together with him. Then, a large amount of primordial qi poured into their bodies and healed their internal injuries. "Taoist Grandpa is fine." Yin Kai grinned. "Just take it that I was bitten by a dog." "Sect leader, you're out of seclusion?" Guan Wenbao looked at Li Fan, who had an otherworldly temperament. His eyes were filled with admiration. "Congratulations, sect leader. You've achieved great success." "Fuck, you've reached the martial sage level." Li Fan laughed dryly. He felt extremely unnatural. He did not rely on his own strength to break through to the martial saint level, but with the help of Murong AI. Although Xiao Qin's body had already reached the level of a half-sage, he still needed to concentrate on cultivating if he wanted to break through the 9th acupoint. That way, he would have to increase the density of his strength. When he was in seclusion, Li Fan tried to break through the 9th meridian point with 2 streams of energy. However, the energy was consumed too quickly. Soon, he had no energy left and failed to break through. Li Fan estimated that in order to break through this acupoint, with his terrifying cultivation speed, he would need to cultivate in seclusion for at least 3 years. But how could Liao Wushuang wait for 3 years? At this moment, Murong sent Chun away and sneaked into her own secluded room. He didn't know what method the little lass used to make Li Fan lose his sense of normality. He actually stripped the little lass naked and tasted the taste of honey peaches. While he was lost, Li Fan and Murong AI lingered for 3 whole days. However, in these 3 days, Li Fan's strength improved by leaps and bounds. Thinking back to that day in the secluded room, Li Fan couldn't help but blush. Murong AI lay in his arms after that and explained everything to him. This little lass had been secretly practicing the secret technique of the Medicine King Valley's Een sect and had refined her absolute Een body into a precious cauldron. If he could take her precious cauldron body, he would be able to obtain the strength of 10 dragons. That was the strength of a grandmaster. Li Fan hugged Murong AI tightly. He couldn't help but feel a little sorry for her. This little demoness, who had followed him wholeheartedly all those years ago, had helped him at the last moment. "Brother-in-law, hubby, if we become enemies in the future, I hope you can be merciful." Murong AI didn't ask for anything else but this one condition. With the help of her precious cauldron, Li Fan finally succeeded in breaking the last seal and opened the 9th acupuncture point. This allowed him to truly enter the realm of martial saint. Half martial saint, martial saint. This was a difference of 50 dragon strength. However, after entering the martial saint realm, Li Fan felt that the improvement in the realm was not just a difference of 50 dragons. The current Li Fan felt that his ears and eyes were sharp and his internal energy was abundant. He could absorb energy from heaven and earth with a single breath. In the past, he had to rely on elemental recovery pills to replenish his internal energy. However, the current Li Fan only needed to take a breath to absorb a large amount of internal energy from heaven and earth to enrich his Dantian. The Dantian was also different. Now, these 2 Dantian were like a rotating nebula, full of energy and vitality. Next, Li Fan also took the opportunity to help Murong AI. When the 2 of them were entangled, he also washed the little girl's bones and marrow. He used his vitality to help her open up all the meridians in her body. He directly raised the little girl who originally had no heart to practice martial arts and was only at the early stage of impeccable refinement to the peak of strength. The speed of creating an expert was even more ferocious than Imperial Concubine Zhou's transfer of strength. However, the method of creating it was special and not everyone could use it. Damn it, how could I lose? Adam's roar came into his ears, calling Li Fan's attention back. He took a closer look and saw that Adam was pulling his body out of the rock. That pair of angry blue eyes stared at him, as if he wanted to pull out his tendons and peel off his bones. How could a mere Huaxiao person hurt me? The lightning wings behind Adam kept flapping, and his strength began to circulate to the extreme. Lightning fall. Adam struck down a lightning bolt, trying to turn this damned Huaxia martial artist in front of him into charcoal. However, Li Fan just casually stretched out his hand and smashed the falling lightning bolt. You call this lightning? Li Fan smiled. How can it compare to the power of nature's lightning? At most, it is only a man-made lightning. Ridiculous. My strength is already at the level of a god. Adam suppressed the shock in his heart and thought of the power of the Zeus system, and immediately became confident. This Zeus system allows me to have the strength of the god of creation in the Golden Empire. God of creation? At his peak, that guy was only a half-saint. Li Fan couldn't help but shake his head. How is he strong? Nonsense. I think you are courting death. This enemy was too strong. No matter what despicable methods he used, he must die today. Adam even suspected that Li Fan's body was implanted with the chip of the Dragon God number 1. Or, he was the Dragon God number 1 that Huaxia had secretly created, the most perfect artificial human. Huaxia actually had this kind of technology. Damn it, I must kill him and obtain his data. Chapter 1357. Adam would never believe that a Chinese martial artist like Li Fan was stronger than him. He must be the most advanced android secretly created by China. This was the only judgment in Adam's heart. Since he was an android, he had a way to deal with him. Adam became even more excited when he thought of this. He stretched out his hand, and a black nanonucleus suddenly tore open the space between his eyebrows and flew out of his head, blood spurting out. This nanonucleus was about the size of a peanut. It flew in front of Li Fan and started spinning. Ha ha, since you are an android, then I won't be polite with the power of the nuclear battery in your body. China's Dragon chip was developed together with the United States. However, in order to deal with this Chinese Dragon chip, the United States hit a trick. They created a system that could absorb the nuclear energy stored in the Dragon chip as long as the nanonucleus was activated. This way, no matter how strong the Chinese Dragon chip was, it would only benefit the United States in the end. With such a method that could completely counter China, the United States plan was very good. Adam also thought that he could absorb Li Fan's power and become stronger. However, what surprised Adam was that no matter how the nanonucleus rotated, not a single bit of nuclear energy was absorbed from Li Fan's body. In the past, Li Fan had a dragon chip on the back of his hand. However, after he reached the martial sage stage, it was refined by his huge internal force. Now, in Li Fan's body, the main dantian only had a vast amount of energy, and the second dantian was a thick amount of yin energy. How could it be absorbed by Adam? Are you done playing? Li Fan looked at Adam's shocked expression, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly, revealing a smile. But it was this smile that made Adam's heart jump. He seemed to see the devil smiling at him. This is too scary. This Chinese man, no, he is not human. He must be a demon from hell. This is your power? Li Fan stretched out his thumb and index finger and pinched the nanonucleus. Stop! Adam turned pale with fright and hurriedly let the nanonucleus fly back. However, Li Fan's 2 fingers had already pinched the nanonucleus firmly. The power of Adam's nanocore was no weaker than a small bomb. He tried to break free from Li Fan's grasp by letting the nanocore's power explode. However, Li Fan easily crushed the nanonucleus. Adam immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and half knelt on the ground, looking at Li Fan in shock. The nanonucleus was as hard as diamond, but it was crushed by him? How was this possible? Adam could not believe his eyes at all. This was simply a nightmare. Dragon God number 1's power is actually so strong, Adam muttered to himself. Sorry, I'm not Dragon God number 1. Li Fan crossed his hands behind his back and stood in front of him. Remember, I am the Shangfang sword, the villa master of the 7 heroes villa, Li Fan. What the hell? Don't tell me even the power of a god won't work. Adam couldn't stop trembling, but Li Fan smiled. God's power? Stop dreaming. That's just a bit of brute force with the help of external objects. Even if you have the strength of a half-saint, you won't be able to defeat a martial fighter who also has the strength of a half-saint. You're just a kid waving a pistol around. Nonsense. I will definitely kill you. Get your data. The retina camera in Adam's eyes kept recording this scene, and the higher-ups of the U.S. who were standing in front of the screen were all stunned. How is this possible? How can he have such power? Shang Feng's sword? How can he be so strong? This is not scientific. This is not scientific. The higher-ups were a little crazy. They were shocked by Li Fan's strength. Even a Zeus system can't do anything to him. A white-haired officer sat on a chair, leaning on a cane as he watched this scene on the screen. We are currently collecting his data. A researcher said, we are currently analyzing his power level. What is the level of our Zeus system? The officer asked. The Zeus system used on Adam gave him the power of 900 images. The researcher immediately said, 900 images is comparable to a nuclear warhead. The officer's eyes were somewhat gratified. Back then, the god of creation of the Golden Empire only had the power of 1,000 images. We have created this Zeus system according to his genome, and it can already be considered a perfect replica. The Zeus system is our highest technological masterpiece. Everyone nodded. If it wasn't for the high cost, we could mass-produce the Zeus system and create countless powerful warriors. Dragon God number 1 will be our greatest threat. However, the military officer frowned. Those Huaxia's hawks actually secretly created such a thing. How despicable. Has this person's strength been measured? The officer asked. It has been measured. The researcher's body suddenly trembled, and his eyes were wide open, as if he couldn't believe what had happened. What's the matter? How many values? The officer asked. It should be 1,000. Maybe he has the genes of a true god of creation. No, not 1,000. Then how many? 5,800 images. Impossible. The officer directly stood up and then sat back down weakly. How? How can it be so high? The machine can't be wrong. Damn it. The officer was extremely shocked. This is impossible. How can there be such an exaggerated number? There must be something wrong with the machine. Retest. It's no good. Adam has already been defeated, and the opponent has also retracted his strength. Damn it. We must get his data. His genes. We already have his genes, but back then, his genes didn't have such a powerful energy value. The researcher trembled as he spoke. Then go and snatch his genes. No, snatch his entire body. The general roared. Yes. The military personnel immediately mobilized. General, what about Adam? He is already useless. We don't need trash. The general spoke. Yes. At the same time, Adam, who was far away, had already completely lost consciousness and was lying on the ground like a pile of soft mud. You guys are rebelling. Seeing this scene, Section Chief Su couldn't help but tremble. He didn't even dare to look at Li Fan's eyes. Rebelling? Li Fan laughed. I am an imperial sword. Everything I do is to protect China. As for you guys, you only want to fill your own pockets, only wanting to live a happy life and eat the flesh and blood of the people of China. Nonsense, I am a section chief of XX Bureau. What can you do to me? No, you are just a piece of trash. Chapter 1358. With the help of the Eagle faction, Section Chief Su had already been dismissed. However, Li's son, who was above him, was very cunning. He had only shown up at the villa and left nothing behind. Moreover, he had the support of the Dove faction, so it was naturally impossible to touch him. But don't worry, those guys' good days are about to come to an end. When General Rand met with Li Fan, he brought him a piece of good news. As long as our Dragon God number 1 is in the sky, those guys will have to obediently hand over their power. When that time comes, naturally, no one will be able to threaten us. Haha, it's a good thing that Dragon God number 1 is in the sky. Li Fan was not too excited because of this. But when the time comes, when the power of the Dove faction is handed over, I'm afraid that I will also have to hand over the power of the Shangfang sword. Ahem, Major Li, what are you talking about? General Rand coughed twice. He sat in the reception room of the Seven Knights Villa and looked at the young man in luxurious clothes in front of him, feeling a little uneasy. Logically speaking, he was a general who held military power. How could he be afraid of a young man in his early 20s? However, this was the Shangfang sort of Huaxia. Not only did he possess terrifying power, but at this moment, his otherworldly realm also made General Rand a little shocked. In the past, when he was recruited, he was just a stubborn boy full of stubbornness. But now, he was a grandmaster who was on the same level as General Rand. His temperament was much calmer, and he knew how to hide things in the bottom of his heart, speaking 30%, 60%, 70%. That lukewarm sentence, just now, had already begun to play a game with him, the general. We are all brothers on the same front. Whether it is the martial arts world or the government, we are all part of Huaxia's 5,000 years of history. When the hares are dead, the hounds will be cooked. When the birds are dead, the bough will be put away. Li Fan picked up the teacup, looked at the heavy tea leaves in it, and said slowly, "How long this front line can last is not up to you, and I'm afraid it's not up to me either. Majorly, I know your concerns." General Rand had already heard the hidden meaning in Li Fan's words. When Dragon God number 1 is in the sky, you will definitely be given the most credit. At that time, the higher-ups will probably promote you to senior colonel. Although he wasn't a general, it was still an extremely high military rank. As for your Seven Knights Mountain Villa, the government won't touch it either. Moreover, he will be granted a military status. Every sword guard of the manor can get the rank of private. What do you think? That's right. This way, I'll be helping the government. Li Fan took a sip of the new tea cultivated by the manor. The taste was slightly fishy, but after a long time, it had a slight fragrance. It was not bad. Brother, this is already very good. You're holding an elite force in your hands. General Rand reminded Li Fan. If you don't put them in the military, how can the people above you rest assured? This troop was originally used to protect the peace of Huaxia. Li Fan was not annoyed. He just calmly stated the facts. In the future, even if Dragon God number 1 were to be launched into space, it would only be able to defend the missiles of various countries. If a force like the Dusk of the Gods invades, my Seven Knights Mountain Villa will have to block it. The Western countries have the ambition of wolves. You, Li Fan, are also sincere. I naturally know that. General Rand sighed. But you just said that some things can't be decided by the two of us. Well, brotherly, what is your plan? Just say it. Since they're in the military, then give them a salary. Li Fan said very honestly. Everyone is protecting the safety of Huaxia. We can't do it for free, right? All right, this villa of yours can be considered an independent regiment no matter how you look at it. Although we can't actually give you a regiment commander position, we still need to give you a corresponding monthly salary. Every sword guard of the manor will also be given a monthly subsidy according to the salary standard of the Special Combat Department. It will be 7,000 yuan per month, and there will be 5 insurances and 1 housing fund. What do you think? Not bad. Li Fan finally showed a bit of a smile. Although it's not very generous, I reluctantly agree on behalf of everyone. Reluctantly? How can this treatment be bad? After all, we have the strength. Besides, you haven't finished mentioning your conditions, right? General Rand smiled somewhat shamelessly when his thoughts were seen through. When the time comes, the higher-ups will send a party secretary. Well, I knew it. The higher-ups would definitely not allow Li Fan to lead such a large armed force alone. He's here. This name sounds so bad. The party secretary of the manor sounds worse than a village cadre. Haha, of course not. When the time comes, you could just give him the title of deputy manor lord. He also knows that people who play politics are very smart. As long as you don't do anything illegal, he won't go against you. No matter what, he is definitely a member of our Eagle faction. How can I let you suffer losses? Okay, then it's settled. Li Fan said in his heart that after everything was settled, he should go to the Leaf Family Island to enjoy his life. He was also a little tired of managing the affairs of the Jianghu. After fighting for the benefits for the 7 Chivalry Villa, he didn't need to worry too much about the rest. But at the moment, there was still one thing that he was worried about. General Rand, how's the investigation of the Martial Imperial Palace going? Don't mention it. According to the address you gave us, we checked several times, but we couldn't find where the terrorists went. For Huaxia, the Martial Imperial Palace could indeed be called a real terrorist. They wanted to overthrow the government and make history go backwards. It was really scary. Nearby? We've also searched nearby. There are no clues at all. Bang! The teacup in Li Fan's hand suddenly knocked. This purple sand teacup actually sank into the table, which made General Rand's heart jump. Good boy, his strength is actually getting higher and higher. He is indeed worthy of the title of the Imperial Sword. The Martial Imperial Palace is a bunch of gutless bandits. They snatched my people and actually hid them. No matter how good Li Fan's self-restraint was, he couldn't help but explode at this time. Liao Wushuang's whereabouts were still unknown. Tai Bai Jinxing kept saying that he was going to the Martial Imperial Palace to ask for her, but in the end, this bunch of dogs actually hid. What a joke. With this kind of courage, they dare to call themselves the Martial Imperial Palace? Brotherly, don't worry too much. Didn't you say that Liao Wushuang is Liao Ju's daughter? As the saying goes, even a tiger doesn't eat its cubs. She shouldn't be in danger for the time being. No matter how arrogant the Martial Imperial Palace is, it is still a civilian organization. Right now, there is still something important waiting for you to do. Dragon God number 1. Li Fan also calmed down and looked at General Rand. Tell me, when will it be launched, and what do you need me to do? Chapter 1359. Dragon God number 1 was about to be launched. This was a great thing for Huaxia. However, many people did not want this satellite to be launched. Not just foreign forces, but even some of Huaxia's own forces. For a moment, heroes from all sides harbored ulterior motives. Fong Ping Base, which was preparing to launch Dragon God number 1, was also experiencing undercurrents. Following General Rand's orders, Li Fan brought Guan Wenbao, Chun, Wang Xiaoran, and the 12 7-gallant sword guards to Fong Ping Base. Fong Ping Base was surrounded by Fong Ping Town. The town was close to the military base, so the town had always been safe and peaceful. However, things had not been so peaceful in the past few days. The number of outsiders in this town had suddenly increased. Husband, we've arrived at Fong Ping Town. Let's find a place to rest. Chun looked ahead and saw a stone tablet erected at the entrance of the town. The words Fong Ping Town were carved in red paint. However, as time passed, the words had become blurred. Only the words Fong Ping could be vaguely seen. The town was no longer clear. We've arrived at Fong Ping's territory. Li Fan breathed a sigh of relief. When he came out, he had the control chip of Dragon God number 1 with him. This thing had been left in the 7-gallant villa. It was a sore point for Li Fan. Now, he had personally escorted it all the way here. Although his strength was already at Martial Saint, there were still other Martial Saint powerhouses in this world. If they were to join forces to snatch it, he might not be able to protect himself. The more refined his martial arts skills were, the more insignificant Li Fan felt. Among the cultivation techniques Li Fan practiced was the 9 Truths essential technique, which allowed him to sense the energy of heaven and earth. After breaking through to Martial Saint, Li Fan's understanding of heaven and earth had deepened. The energy of heaven and earth was incomparably abundant. Moreover, after he became a Martial Saint, he could always feel that there was a pair of eyes staring at him from the sky. The stare made Li Fan's hair stand on end. He had once asked the Dragon Lady if there was anyone stronger than a Martial Saint since ancient times. The Dragon Lady had lived for a long time. She knew many old stories and legends. However, even she shook her head. Martial Saints were the strongest existences. Be it humans or sacred beasts, this was a top-notch threshold. Li Fan thought about it. This was probably the law of heaven and earth. If a person's strength surpassed the Martial Saint level, wouldn't that mean that he would have the ability to fly in the sky and burrow into the ground? In that case, he really couldn't be called a human anymore. He should be a god. After breaking through to the saint level, Li Fan felt that his lifespan seemed to have increased significantly. According to the Dragon Lady, A normal person's lifespan would increase by 200 to 300 years when they reached the sage level. Furthermore, he had eaten a dragon before, so he should be able to live longer. But as for how long, he did not know. In short, for Li Fan, he was carrying a great treasure, so it was better to be careful. In particular, this treasure was related to the fate of Huaxia, so they couldn't afford to make any mistakes. There's a restaurant up ahead. Everyone must be tired. Let's eat something before we continue. Li Fan saw that there was a restaurant in the town ahead. Since they were almost there, he might as well bring everyone to eat something. He could absorb energy, but the others still had to eat. It was around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and there weren't many people in the restaurant. There were 7 to 8 tables in a large tile-roofed house that was more than 40 square meters. Li Fan led a group of people and sat down. Li Fan, Guan Wenbao, Chun and Wang Xiaoran sat at one table. The remaining 12 sword guards were divided into 2 groups and sat at the 2 tables at the side. The restaurant only had some peasants' dishes. Li Fan casually ordered some to let everyone fill their stomachs. The food here is too ordinary. Chun frowned. How can I let my husband eat this? We're outside, so we can just eat casually. Li Fan was very casual. Although Chun cooking is not as good as Xiu it's still better than this. As Chun spoke, she turned around and went to the kitchen. This restaurant was very casual. They added some money, and Chun personally cooked, so the boss was happy to be free. Soon, Chun made 4 meat dishes and 4 vegetable dishes, as well as a thick soup, and served it to Li Fan. Sister Chun's cooking is really good. After Wang Xiaoran tasted it, she was full of praise. I can't do it. Xiu's cooking is the best. Chun shyly waved her hand. She was good at female workers, and the clothes that Li Fan was wearing were all personally sewn by her. It's already very good. Master, you are too lucky. Wang Xiaoran looked at Li Fan. As a little foodie, she couldn't help but feel a little envious. In the villa, Xiu was personally in charge of Li Fan's meals. When she thought about how Li Fan could eat such delicious food every day, how could she not be jealous? This pearl and jadeite 8 treasure soup is not bad. At this moment, a voice came from the side. Li Fan turned his head and saw a handsome youth walking over and sitting in front of him. This youth was wearing a white shirt, black trousers, and a pair of sports shoes that had been washed white. He was tall and slender. He held a long sword in his hand and placed it on the table. Furthermore, he sat opposite Li Fan. Guan Wenbao and the rest were originally very vigilant, but seeing this youth's appearance, they relaxed. Lu Zhu, why did you come here? Seeing Lu Zhu, Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. Join the fun? Or are you here to help your master snatch something? Get lost. What are you talking about? Lu Zhu couldn't help but roll her eyes at Li Fan, causing Li Fan to be stunned for a moment. He was obviously a man, but he actually had this kind of amorous feeling. This brother is too effeminate. I must properly reform him. I must not let him walk on the path of no return like Yin Kai. I came to find you. Find me for what? I missed you, so I came to see you. Can't I? Lu Zhu looked at Li Fan with a hidden bitterness. Why? Is it so hard to see manner lordly now? Ha! What are you saying? We are brothers. If you want to see me, isn't it a matter of minutes? I'm not the only one who wants to see you. Lu Zhu took a bite of the food in front of Li Fan, and her eyes immediately lit up. Delicious. Thank you. Chun smiled faintly. Not bad, manner lordly. You even have such a pretty maid by your side. Intentionally or unintentionally, Lu Zhu's tone was filled with sarcasm or jealousy. She is not a maid. She is a sword attendant. Li Fan explained. That's different. Look at you acting like a young master now, but you have forgotten your brother's suffering. What suffering do you have? If you really can't live anymore, then come and seek shelter with me. Li Fan said, as long as you forsake the darkness for the light, the door of 7 Nights Villa will always be open for you. Forsake the darkness for the light. Our holy religion is not the darkness. Lu Zhu rolled her eyes again. In our eyes, you guys are the darkness. Yes. Even eating can't stop your mouth. My mouth is easy to stop, but those guys outside might not be the same. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.